friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone, welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. I hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the show, and today you guys, we're on episode 236, being real about mental health and medications with my girl Hollie G. Ooh! You guys know that I have to have Hollie on every season that I absolutely can, and so now here is her debut in season 10. We're so excited because as we were talking a month ago, she was telling me about this experience that she had with her mental health medications and some other medications that were going about, and now we've talked to Hollie on the show before about anxiety, birth control, depression, postpartum, being a mom, pressures of having a small business. Me and Halls have talked about everything on the show, but when she first came on, we really had a focus on mental health. And since that's somehow been almost 5 years ago, I thought perfect time to catch up with my girl Hollie, bring her back in. Let's talk about mental health and the medications that she's been on, I've been on, our experiences, and being real with that. Now, you guys, of course, as always, it's an amazing episode catching up with one of my longest friends. I'm so excited for you guys to hear that. But before we get into this episode, I just want to remind you, if you're listening on Apple, Rumble, or Spotify, to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a comment if you can or will, leave a little review, helps the girl get back to 5 stars, whoever fucking did that last one. Just kidding, I'm just kidding. Y'all have a right to say what you want. But if you have a problem with my show, please message me first before giving me a 1 star. Would really appreciate it. But either way, if you are looking for me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the Be Real Babe or the Be Real Babe podcast. And if you yourself would like to be on an episode, you can reach out to me at theberealbabe@hotmail.com. I would love to have you. Your story matters, your experience matters, and I promise you, you will help at least one person by sharing your experience. Now, I do want to call myself out this season and just say, I don't know this until the end, but for some reason, Riverside keeps jumping out for about a minute of every single episode, so do not mind me if you just all of a sudden see this screen down here instead of this one here. I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm trying so hard to learn more about tech and it's just not working out. So calling myself out here, I apologize if that's weird to you, but also please reach out to me if you do see anything weird or strange on the episodes. Let me know. I'm a one-trick pony over here, you guys, so I need all the help I can get. But anyways, I'm going to shut the fuck up and let's get into this amazing episode with my girl Hollie G. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show, and with me today, I have my most favorite returning guest. I'd like to welcome Hollie to the show. Hey, babe, how's it going?
Hey, good, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for jumping on with me today. I missed you.
I missed you too.
I was like, I just always have Hollie in my back pocket when I have a moment where I'm like, hey, I need an episode, and I always know that you are there. So, like, dude, truly, honestly, over the last decade, thank you for just always being there for me when I need you. Like, it's just
always. I feel like our conversations are like a podcast anyway, so like, why not?
Right? Like, if we're gonna talk, we might as well just get some content out of it. Like, might as well. We might, because we're just healing the masses together, right? We're just healing all the people together by our real talk. Because I think I forgot to count, but I think this is like your 15th episode at this point. Something like that?
Yeah, I thought it was like 11, but like maybe
it's
15. I don't know. I didn't really count either. I was just guessing.
No, it's just every season I have to have you on, so it was like really great. I'm like, hey, you know what? I needed time, and we just had this big conversation like what we're going to talk about today about medication and all that and what happened to you, and I just thought, you know what? Holy shit, it's been like 5 years since we had your first episode talking about depression and mental health with us, and we talked about birth control and all that in our first season. And not that we haven't talked about yourself and all those things, but I was like, wow, what a good time to come back since then to now and see how things are going. So yeah, but anyways, before that, how are things? How are things with you? Doing good? Anything
like exciting? I think good. Like we have moments that we're like, wait, yeah, like I think we're good. Yeah, it really depends on the day. And I know this sounds like a really, really weird answer, but
nope, I get it.
Like the weather is nice, it's getting cooler. We like the idea of fall. Mm-hmm. I am sick. I am down with the sickness. It's been going around because my dang kids bring home germs.
Yeah, germ
for back to school.
Yeah.
But like also it's like the tail end of the summer going into the school, and then here the weather's been like really whack too. So I guess like the barometric pressure really messes up a lot of us. And I also had a friend tell me too that it's like a end of September slide, I think is what she called it. For anybody who has chronic illnesses, it can actually flare up quite significantly. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just thought it was like getting into the sads because it's getting cold and it gets darker sooner. But like, there's like some pieces, and we're in like like we just finished eclipse season. Like, there's a lot of pieces, and it's like, oh my god.
There's so much.
But like, we're alive.
Yeah,
we're here.
We're here. We're smiling. We're laughing.
Whatever that was yesterday that was supposed to happen, that all the Christians were saying that we're all supposed to be taken. Was it like the Ravage or whatever it was?
Rapture?
We're still here. That's the one. I don't know.
The Ravage. Is this a modern day rapture? I mean, I'm not trying to be that way, but like doomsdayers and how many times, like, we've heard it a few times, and like, you know,
yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet, and I'm not saying please come and do it or whatever, but like, you know, like,
this is like the longest apocalypse I've ever lived.
Honestly.
Just ever lived. Because I swear they said there was like doomsday 10 times over already.
Oh,
like,
I mean, we're invincible. Like, and I think it's good to be prepared. I don't think it's bad to be somewhat prepared, you know, have extra water, have some batteries, and like, you know, natural disasters do be happening. But if the world's ending, I don't know, man. Like, I'd rather just be living my life till the fucking fullest until that actually happens. Maybe, you know, because like, ain't no way I'm turning back now. Like, you know, I've turned to God more in the last like couple weeks, I'll say that, but ain't no way I think I'm gonna be allowed in the pearly gates yet. So if it's happening tomorrow, your girl's fucked.
Yeah, I think we're just like living in purgatory, actually. Like, exactly. I feel like that's just where we're at. Like, come on.
It is. The world's just trash out there. No, just kidding.
Wasn't trying to get all religious and stuff, but like that's where we're kind of at in the way of like things be like, what the hell? What's the meaning of life? We don't know. We're doing it. And mostly good, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
mostly
think at
good.
this point,
that was I should have led with. It's mostly good.
Mostly good.
Said,
well,
well.
But that's
do you want the real answer?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
But I think that's such a good point too, and I think, you know, it does make a huge difference on your mindset. Like, today was so sunny out, and it was 25 degrees, and I was like, I'm going to miss this so much. And I do think that's what it is too, is like, you know, you get up, like, I don't get up in the morning and it's dark for a solid hour before the sun gets up, and I'm like, I fucking hate that. I love it in the summer when I wake up and the sun is getting up at the same time, and I'm like, yes, like, I love, and then when you, at nighttime too, it's like, it's doing this, right? Someone said to me the other day, and I thanked her for it. She's like, only 3 months until, what did she say? 3 months until we get to the longest, what did she say again?
Longest day of the year?
Yes, something like that. Was it the longest day, or like en route to, like going back to it or whatever? And then
maybe like the shortest day.
The shortest day, I think, sometime in like December or January. So it's like 3 months until we're past the like that point where we start, like, the days start getting longer. Is like 3 months from now. And I was like, okay, so 3 months. I can do that. 3 months I can do. When you put it that way, that in 3 months the days are going to start to get longer, that's what it was. The days will start to get longer in 3 months. I'm like, okay, that sounds doable.
3 months is Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. It's funny.
I know, me too, but I'm like not prepared.
No, me neither. Like I said, we're going on a trip. I don't even know if we're gonna do Christmas this year. I don't know, but it's just like watching like the traditions and like the movies and like decorating and those things that like don't stress you out as much. But yeah, Halloween is like on 50% off right now. Like, Christmas is gonna be here right after. I feel like October 1st we're gonna start seeing Christmas decorations. Like, can we stop?
I've already seen Christmas decorations in like the dollar store at Michael's already.
And that's what makes you feel behind. Like, you probably wouldn't feel behind if you didn't see it. You probably wouldn't even be thinking about it. But now you're just like, oh, I seen it, and now I haven't bought all my Christmas presents or got my tree this year, so now it's done. I might as well look for 2026 December. Like, fuck. Just do it when you want to and you need to. Just enjoy the season. But yeah, it definitely takes a toll on your mental health when the seasons start dropping. So it's I think it's difficult for everyone, and I just keep holding on to summer as hard as I can, and I'm like, I have to wear a jacket in the morning now. I don't think I can hold on to this any longer.
It's like that you wear a jacket in the morning because it's got that chill overnight. You have to like turn off your AC. Like, we just put our AC away. We have our windows open overnight, but we wake up and it's like
freezing.
She's cold. Like, you wear slippers and a sweater. Yeah. But then like by lunchtime, it's like, why do I have a sweater on? It's so freaking hot.
Clothes.
So yeah, why am I wearing clothes? I don't want to be wearing clothes.
No.
Screw clothes.
Yes.
So
It's so much
really,
funner when it's the
yeah, it's a fun
springtime
time
and
to be
that's
alive.
happening, right? Because you're like, oh yeah, summer's
Yeah,
coming, so you're like totally fine with that, and you've been waiting for the heat. But then when it's the opposite, you're like, oh god, I hate this so much. I
like
love the
I really
fashion,
like
but
myself. I love myself some jeans and
mm,
some boots and some layers. We love a good layer. I have an obscene amount
a
of
good
cardigans and blazers. We love that.
yeah,
But like,
fashion,
I
love
also
it.
break. But like, there's
Cold
only so many
temperature,
layers I can take off.
hate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
oh yeah,
know.
that's true. When you layer up too, and then you
Yeah,
have to like layer
you're
back
like,
down. You're just carrying all these
yeah,
jackets and all these things, and you're just holding them. Like, I love this for us.
yeah.
But
And then I'm like, oh, hmm
we will survive. We will survive. We have this. We have projects. You got projects all the time. I'm sure you have tons of different events and things coming up. Anything, a special
so
mention you want to
many.
throw out? We'll throw out some, and then we'll
Ooh.
jump into the depression talk.
So on the topic of like mental health and stuff like that, I am doing well, I guess it's kind of mental health related in a way, but it's nervous system regulation. So I've teamed up with my friend Allie. She's a somatics guru. I say guru because that encompasses all of what she does. She's a chronic illness advocate and an embodiment coach. So she has like a lot of different modalities. And two of us have teamed up, so I'll be doing more of like the auditory stuff of how to move and feel into your body. She'll be doing like the actual movement, where I'm going to be doing like, hey, we can journal, we can do all X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
We are running a 4-week program starting on October 3rd, which
Nice.
conveniently, she's a big Taylor Swift fan, so, and I am not.
Nope, me
And I was
neither.
like, I just thought it was the funniest because it's October 3rd. And she's like, oh my gosh. And so I was like, I think we're gonna make friendship bracelets because we're nerds like that. And I'm
Of
like,
course.
I will fall
I'll
into it a
play.
little bit. She's
I'll
like,
play with it.
by the end of it, she's like, Holly, you're gonna be a fan. I was like, I doubt it. She's
I
like,
doubt
you're
it.
was it what's that? I think it's like redemption girly is what she was trying to say that I'm gonna be
Okay.
that person. That I'm gonna like that version of me. I
Babe,
was
we're
like,
too
anyway,
deep into conspiracies, babe. We're too deep into it. We can't
I
turn our backs
you
on
know.
that. Just saying.
I know, right? So anyway, either way, we're running a
I
4-week
wish Swifty's
program,
the best. Like, I got no harm against
right?
them, but
I know,
listen,
me
I've been in
either.
a cult a time or two, friends. You're not getting me this time. I've been in a
You
plenty of
know,
MLMs my day. I'm good.
I feel like I would be a very good person to fall into a cult culture because I'd be
100%.
so curious to know what it was about,
I
and then I
gotta know
wouldn't
more.
notice because I'd be so far gone. I'd be, this is so cool.
Well, like, if you
But
think
so
about how most cults start, it's like, let's go and live on the land and fuck the
yeah,
government and all this, and all of a sudden it's
well,
like, now you have to have sex with everyone and drink this juice. Like, what?
oh yeah, we're drinking the
Right?
Kool-Aid, and that's like
Exactly.
the lines are kind of blurred.
A little bit. You're like,
Um,
what
but
kind of
I did
juice?
have a younger client of mine, who I do their hair, and they were like a little while ago. They were like, "In Holly, we trust," and I was like, "That sounds incredibly culty," but
That's,
I love it.
I do love
I
it.
love
Like, I'm
it.
okay with
I
it.
need that. I need that
Like,
on artwork.
I like the attention, like the idea of the attention of being a cult leader, but like I also don't want that responsibility. Like,
I
absolutely
know it's a lot
not.
of
It's hard
responsi-
enough for
It
three
reminds
cats.
me. It reminds me of like Tommy off of Rugrats. There's a whole other responsibilities, or Chucky off of that,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I'm
Okay,
good.
but
Thank you.
I squirreled hard, right?
No,
But
that's
like,
fine. Bring us back.
um, nervous system regulation,
Hmm
4 weeks program,
hmm
4 Fridays right before Halloween. So it's the 4 Friday nights in October. In person, 2 hours, theory, practical. We talk about like the nerdy side of things, why our bodies do the things that they do. We have these beautiful workbooks done up, almost like a magazine style. They
Oh,
look
cute.
so cute.
Oh, I can't wait to see them.
And it's called Coming Back to Self. So we're really, really
Oh,
excited.
beautiful.
Um, that one there where it's in person, you get to take home the book later. And yeah, so if any of the GP peeps out there want to
Yeah.
get in on it, it's on my website at hgexperience.ca.
Love it. That's so
So
exciting. I love that for you.
that's about it for the big project. That's kind of we've been calling it our
So
big
good.
baby because it's been taking like a lot of our time to try to figure out how we want to bring it to life.
Totally.
Other things are like all of my witchy fall things have officially reached the website too. So my brew
Nice.
making.
Perfect. Yay.
Um, there's some other ones, but I'm pulling a brain fart.
Yeah.
I'm doing some tarot card readings at the Tired Moms social gathering, which is not just for moms. It just happens to be two tired moms running it. So
Oh, okay. Good to know.
it's
Good to know.
it's
You gotta know
Halloween
the single
themed.
girlies. You gotta know the single
Yeah, yeah,
girlies
yeah.
know.
Yeah, so it's like basically a girls' night, and you can get tickets online. They're doing flash tattoos, sweaters, and I'm going to be there doing tarot card readings. That's kind of it for now. A lot of it's going to be
That's a
workshop
lot.
based in the
Yeah.
next little bit, and then I'm still taking clients. So
Of
like
course.
you're us busy, but in like
The
I
best
always like to
ways.
tell people, they're like, "Oh my gosh, how do you do it?" And I'm like, "Okay, look, for one, I don't, because my busy looks different, and I do pockets.
Yeah.
It's like I will purposely, I won't be doing clients tomorrow because I have a workshop tomorrow night. So like
Yeah.
we space it out
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if not, your girl would not be alive, to be honest.
Bro, I feel that so deep in my soul. I'm like, what are you doing? Why do you just keep saying yes? And I'm like, I just have to. It's life. I can't say no. There's just so many experiences. Like when people are like, I'm bored, I'm like, bro, can't relate. Can't relate
Yeah,
at all. Bored is not something in my vocabulary. It never has been. Something could be boring. Like I could be in a Teams meeting and like I love my
that sounds
job, but some
boring.
days I'm like,
Yep,
oh my God, I don't want to talk about building a program. I want to talk about weed and the parts that I'm good at, but it's all part
yeah,
of it. So like I have boring moments, but I'm not bored because I just either even in my down times, it's like I'm being intentional about rest, so I don't find that boring. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like I don't
exactly.
know.
Yep.
There's so much life, and I think that's why me and you vibe so well is because we just
hmm
like I don't think I've ever told you to slow down. I don't think I've ever asked you or told you like you know what I mean. I don't think I've ever
Yeah,
commented to you on that ever.
I'll be honest, the people who've told me to slow down are people who sounds mean, but they can't keep up, and I've kind of dropped them, if that makes any sense. It's not
100%.
intentional, but
No.
the time that somebody tells me that I'm doing too much,
Yeah.
and I have to prove you wrong that I'm not or over explain myself. Most of my people in my corner right now are people who will be like, "Hey, girl, I see what you're doing. I was there. I'm gonna let you figure it out yourself."
Mhm.
Or they're like, "Hey, I love that you're doing all these different things and can see it from a different point of view. So I
Especially
appreciate all
if
the people that
we're
are in
the
my life right
ones
now."
that do that, right?
Yeah.
Like
And
we do the
I'm
same
the one
thing.
too. And when it comes to what I do, nobody else can tell me that I'm doing too much other than myself.
100%.
Because
100%.
there's that type too, like where I'm a full-time creative, there's that piece too that I don't really have that corporate Monday to Friday 9 to 5
No.
thing, which sometimes I miss the structure of it. But at the same time, where I'm at too, I am kind of working like a 10 to 3
Yeah.
scenario, and
Yeah.
then I'm doing like creative stuff on the evenings,
Yeah.
trying to occasionally work back in a weekend because I love my time with my family, but I also realize some of my clients, that's their only availability to come see
Totally.
me,
That would be like me, yeah,
which
for
is,
sure.
which I understand too, but I also don't want to expect people to have book time off work to come see me. That feels kind of
Yeah.
counterproductive.
Meet in the middle.
Um, yeah, so it's just trying to find that balance and flow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like people, I like the kind of saying like somebody that's doing more than you won't usually comment on that, right? So it's like usually people
yeah,
that are doing less. And like I always think that to people like, what if I told you to get off your ass and do shit? Like
yep,
I'm too busy. You're not busy enough. What do you mean you
yep,
can't get this done? I do 10 times more than you do and I can get it done. Like, I'm not trying to be that way, but I would not be
yeah,
that way because I'm like, well, we all have different lives. We all have different goals. I lost friends at a very early age in my 20s, and ever since then, I have hit the fucking ground running to enjoy life and make sure that I am getting as much out of it as I possibly can because tomorrow is not guaranteed for anybody. And I just
We're
think
all
it's
on
super.
borrowed time.
Absolutely. And I just think, like, even if this isn't real and we're all holograms, it doesn't matter. I'm here to have a human experience and I want to enjoy
Yeah,
the most out of my human experience, whatever that looks like. And I just always feel better when I'm feeling like I'm creating and I'm doing a purpose. And then there's got to be times to be like, there's different versions of me, right? Like, there's
yeah,
times to be a cat mom. There's times to, like, be the spouse and take care of the house and then be the podcaster and do YouTube stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a corporate. And same thing. Like, I feel like I don't think I could, at this point in my life, be an entrepreneur. I like that I go to a business and I work 7 to 3:30. Fuck your 9 to 5.
yeah,
If I could do 6 to 2:30, fuck yeah. But I mean, business has still got to operate 24 hours a day.
yep,
But but like that works for me. It works in my life because I don't have kids, so it's very easy for me to do that. And then I could do my stuff outside of it, and I just couldn't handle the pressure of entrepreneurship and not knowing where my money's coming from and all that. And I'm theoretical and like creative second, where you're like creative and you have like, we're opposite in that way. We're like the biggest like part of my like what soothes me is like that structure and that foundation and creating processes and like that's where I get super nerdy, where it's like you
yeah,
love to create the workshops and the connections and the events and the human, where it's like I love that as like a secondary thing, obviously, as my
hmm
hobby. But the minute I notice that I take my art into a business, I start resenting that art. So it's like, for me, I have to
Yeah.
really watch that flow. And that's why I'm like, I don't really want to take money for podcasting ever. I don't really want to have, because it's like, I don't want to lose that, like, oh, now I got to create to have money. However, I also am stuck and at the mercy of the business, right? So it's just like whatever fits and feels good for you, right? And that's why I've always been like, yeah, like I fucking totally support your not fitting into the 9 to 5 corporate life. Well, you totally see how that highlights and you've seen me grow my career not being like educated to this like cool corporate position, right? And you've never been like, well, I think you should quit and be an entrepreneur. You didn't even
No,
try to
because,
push me into Arbonne either. That's why I always
no.
loved you.
Well, Arbonne, okay, I'll be honest. Arbonne was like a thing that I had. Okay, so we talked to MLMs before because I
Yeah.
think you did a full thing, and I was all like, oh, like I
Did.
remember back in the day, my buddy's mom tried to bring me into Mary Kay
Yeah.
and Arbonne, and I'm a very persuadable person
Yes.
if I can see
same.
value in it.
I
But
went
I
through
also like to
3.
support other people. All right,
I
I feel
was
like
in
this
3.
is what happens.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
sucked right in.
right? But like, yeah, I'm not that type of person who will try, and I think that's why that kind of style business will not work for me. I have to believe what I am doing is making a difference. And I think for myself, I get you because I was really reluctant on doing hair full time because I loved it so much, but I love the art of it. And I was like, as soon as I turn this into a career, I'm afraid I'm gonna hate it.
Yeah.
Because then it puts that pressure on, and I have to, how am I gonna make the money? How am I gonna blah 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 blah? Now, where I was at with all my corporate stuff, I was kind of like thrown back into hair because my mat leave ended and my job was dissolved from previous for reception stuff. COVID.
Yeah.
Sorry. The stuff.
You're allowed to say
when the
it.
world shut down.
We're okay now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if
Google just came out saying that YouTube, we're going to stop banning people for their political COVID stuff.
Oh,
so we're
well, this is
extra
fun.
okay to say that. And this is going on Spotify and
Okay.
Apple. And just for everyone, like, Apple said fuck all with anything I posted. They never emailed me. They never threatened me. They never said anything. Spotify would put tags on any post that mentioned the COVID vaccine or COVID, but they never got me in trouble. They would just warn me. YouTube full-blown banned me and striked me, and I had to do a medical information for your episode, actually, ma'am.
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So then I didn't even bother putting the vaccine injury episode that I had on YouTube because I'm like, well, I'm just going to get banned again. So I'm sorry, Jamie. Your episode is only on Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. But now we're okay to say it. So you're free to say whatever. I won't get banned now. But fuck you. Just kidding. I was like, are you shitting me? And it literally held me back. So I like had to do the course to move forward with this YouTube channel.
Oh,
I was so annoyed.
sorry.
No, that's okay. All because you said you thought it was a possibility, man. Like,
Yeah,
that's
because
so
I was
dystopian.
like, listen, and I was like, like if it wasn't that, then it was the stress behind that that would have
And
led
you even
to
said
that.
stress behind COVID and having long COVID.
Yeah.
You even validated their narrative in the same sentence. And just
I
that, boom, I was like, and then I posted a short and I thought I had done a good enough job on Jamie's and it was like strike 2. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my YouTube channel right now from this. And that was the moment I was like, separate. Like YouTube is just going to be
That's
talking
all right.
about, no, please don't. It actually spurred me to separate the podcast from like YouTube and have it its own ecosystem. And now I have YouTube just to talk shit about the government and internet tea. And that seems to be just fine. I get no trouble for that. So... But you're free to say it, the COVID time. But it's like, but I totally agree. But like, you're a person that, you're just so creative that you know you'll figure it out. Like where it's just like, for me, it's just like that structure is just something that I didn't have at all growing up. And it's just something I crave in my life so much. And I've always wanted like a family that I was like, I've been working here for 10 years and like I'm coming up on 5. And so it's like, that's something that I've always really wanted. And I'm not good at business. Like, I'm like, hey, you want to do the photos? Give me whatever you want for money.
Okay, but like that happens with hair too. I'll be honest. My sales rep will come in and be like, "Girl, what are you charging for a color? That's not what it should be." And I was like, so like, I emotionally discount, and I'm trying. We're learning.
Forget about it.
Mental health in the world of hair is very interesting.
Yeah.
There is still like a hustle culture. I was thrown into it being a millennial. I will use that too because like I see like the new generation coming into the hair industry and they're like, okay, we are only doing a client per day. We're charging $500 for a balayage, and like they learned everything off TikTok and have no education with it. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Not saying that's all like that. Not saying that's
No,
all like that.
no,
Not to
no,
throw shade.
no.
But when I started school and I came out and we're on the floor, you worked every Saturday. You worked what they gave you. You had to
Mm-hmm.
earn your way to be where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And now being in the industry for like I'm coming up, I think I was 16 years
I was gonna say
here
almost
back
two. It feels like two
in
decades
June.
almost. Yeah.
So and then I've always wanted to work for myself in this capacity, which is like dangerous but also amazing. So I can like make as much as I want or as little as I want.
100%.
Um, Trying to navigate the financial piece of that too, with also opening a new studio with my friend, it has
Yes.
been very interesting because it's added a new, almost like a new boss level to
Yeah. Yeah.
to that,
Totally. New level
and like
stress.
navigating, and then the continued price of things has continued to go up.
Yeah.
There was some products that have, I think it's like aerosol taxes going on them. If it comes from the States and it's being shipped like that, it can potentially have tariffs. So I've also like navigated trying to have Canadian products. But I'm also like now I have the space to have retail. So like it's also like
Yeah.
incredibly exciting, but also like incredibly dangerous
Yep.
because I have no impulse control because I'm also no longer medicated for my ADHD.
Yes, that's fair.
So
Yes,
we
so let's
spiral.
go. Yeah, that's okay. We love a Holly spiral. They're my favorite.
And like I was joking,
We
like
just had one
every so
before
often I'd
it.
be like, right?
Actually,
I was like, I'm like,
I'll just like put the clip in. If it recorded, I'll just put the clip in now of me panicking and fucking up the intro. Holly got to watch my spiral live.
I find that it's like I always say like the yoga pose for today is a downward spiral.
Yeah, yeah.
It's my
Every
favorite.
day.
It's my
It's
favorite
every
saying
day.
now.
Every
So we
day.
love that.
Every day. It is. But
All
we're
day,
going
all
back
day.
to every day. So we're talking about not medicated. So let's like great catch up. Awesome. Leads us right into the perfect. So when you came on in season 1, we had talked about depression and I think it was like postpartum and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
let's kind of like Cole's notes like from there. So as like a kid, like when did depression or the thought of that enter your realm that you
So
can
I
remember?
feel like so like for myself, I've never been like diagnosed with a depression per se. It was always
Mhm.
postpartum related. I
I
was
see.
also that
Okay.
kid that also had that like emo style of stuff.
Mhm.
Like I love myself some Simple Plan. I love myself some My Chemical Romance. I love myself some White Stripes. Like
Yes.
we had our hair very
My
sweet to
last
the
two girls, the one
side.
before too, she just went to one of the, I think she just went to one, the exact same thing. She's the exact same vibe. And I was like, you and Holly have
Yeah.
the same vibe. Now that I see that, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely like that emo kid. We're
Yeah.
on like the bit of the dramatic side of things too. So like
Yeah.
as
Like a drama
I
kid in a
graduated,
sense too. Yeah.
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 Oh, I was definitely drama kid. I love
Yeah.
drama. I
Yeah.
not like drama in the way of
No.
stirring the pot, but like drama as in
Yes.
like the performing of art,
Theaters. Theater nerd.
theater stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was definitely a drama club.
Yes.
And I was even nominated the most like a drama queen. They did like mock they did like mock ceremonies
Oh my
for
gosh.
grad,
Yeah.
and I remember being like nominated for being the drama queen, and then I also
Nice.
won oh my gosh, a prom queen, but it was like
Okay.
done
Yeah.
in a hat. They like pulled from
Oh,
a
that's so
hat.
funny. Yeah. Oh, nice. Nice way to do it.
No, I didn't win it on a popularity contest to grow popular. I'll be
I,
honest.
I would have thought.
I
I
did
would have thought.
like I look back now and I feel like as I'm watching my kids grow older, it's like it pulls back a new triggering thing
Mm.
with myself as I see my younger self in
Very
them
fair.
as we're
Yeah.
navigating new territories.
Yeah.
So it's been very interesting having interesting things come up. I don't think
Totally.
I was ever like mental health has always been a part there. I remember there was an episode like a stint there in high school that me and food have had a really not so
No.
great
Yes. Yep.
interaction. I remember I used to like slap my wrist with an elastic anytime I ate something bad, which I hate
Mm.
those words now, saying bad, because it's not really good or bad in my eyes anymore. That feels really gross.
It is. Yeah.
Um, yeah, depression wise, I think it was more so just like
yeah, teenager angst and like just being a
teenager
kid,
angst
right?
and like not being able to
Anxiety.
vocalize my
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah. Maybe not the best
And then
environment to
and
explore
like I look
the
back
feels.
now, yeah, like I'm not really super supported. And don't get
Mhm.
me wrong, my dad was amazing, but
Mhm.
mom was working and never really had that female to female
Totally.
relationship, which I think is what had made me feel like I had a hard time getting along with girls.
Yeah.
Like me and
Yeah.
girls never always meshed. Like
Yeah.
my best group of friends was a ton of dudes.
Yeah.
And of course, then that also comes with the, oh my gosh, she's such a whore bullshit, which I was not.
No.
But I used to play Call of Duty with the boys in the basement, and people would
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, she must be sleeping with them." And I'm like, "No, actually, I'm not." But cool, because I don't want to deal with girls and that,
The
the
cattiness
drama,
of it.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cattiness,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
So, I think
And
it's
all
always
too
been an
having
interesting wave.
teen hormones without like having a mom close to
Yeah,
go through that, right? Like, and I'd
yeah,
say, I'm not going to say like my mom was good, but she also was having a baby at that time. She had two toddlers when I
yeah,
was a teenager. So it's
mhm,
like she just didn't have time. And it's like you have all these raging emotions and feelings in you. So it's like you have nowhere to go sometimes. You feel like it
yeah,
just kind of all goes inside and then it's in your head. And then I think that's where it's like we get the ideas of anxiety and depression, but it's maybe not that. We just don't have avenues to like expel those emotions and energy as much.
yeah. Because I don't think there was really like, I don't think it was really me who had the mental health crises
Mm-hmm.
at the teenage years. Mine hit after in my 20s.
Yeah, perfect.
It was like post breakup. Holly was
Yeah.
turned into a wild bar star,
Mm.
hooking up with random dudes, falling for a guy at the bar, getting pregnant, having Zadie. Like it ended up being more of like a, I was such a really good kid
Yeah.
that I rebelled in my 20s because I
Oh
was the
gosh.
oldest.
Yeah.
I was the oldest daughter. Everybody looked up to me, and I was told often how everybody was looking up to me. So it was like a
Mm.
pressure that I had to maintain this look, um, subconsciously, because nobody ever told me that. But it
No.
was like a subconscious pressure to keep up this, the grades, the style, the
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's more so that side of things
Yeah.
versus like an
Pressure.
actual. But like I look back now too, and I'm like, well, the ADHD side of things, that could have been undiagnosed ADHD back then, because we had all those feels mixed with the hormones, mixed with the birth control. Um,
And like
it
think
feels like a
about your
cocktail.
lifestyle. Like were you like in most of us teens, like we were walking and having like stuff from McDonald's and the convenience
Itchy bad
store for
noodles.
right? Like so it's like were we
Yeah,
even healthy in that sense too, right? Like were we providing for our
yeah,
bodies? Probably not at that teenage age,
no,
right? So all those things combined, it's like I think that's why I try to get with people too. It's like one thing I wanted to share is like there were people that were clinically depressed for sure and depressed when
hmm
we were teenagers, but now it seems like there's so many children that are depressed or teenagers are depressed, and I'm just like, are we at like what's happening here? How are we progressing in life? But this is like, and some people will say, oh well, because we have detection now, we talk about it. I'm like,
no,
no, I don't think so though. Like I don't like, yes, maybe mental health wasn't talked about as much as it is now, but it wasn't like it was that hush hush when I grew up. Like
yeah,
I grew up like
no,
understanding that people had anxiety and people had depression and people had mental health issues. Like my great grandma had schizophrenia. Like I was aware of mental illness, not like
yeah,
it's like our grandparents, that generation you didn't speak about mental health. But then it's like
no,
they did all their shit to our parents' generation.
yeah,
And then they're like, fuck that, we're not doing it to our kids. But meanwhile, they're still fucked up trying to learn how to not do that. So we got half of it. And then all of millennials, unfortunately, guys, some of you are too soft parents. And we're like, we're not saying no to our children or like disciplining them at all. And then we got the entitled generation that we now have to work with.
yeah. Because like I think there's like a lot of people who are actually more scared of their kids than their kids are afraid of them. And
I think
or
we
like
need
our
to.
generation,
Oh,
very,
God. My
yeah.
mom, my grandma just had to flare her nostrils and I was fucking gone and behaving.
You just hear a change of like, your full, if you got full
Middle name.
names, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
There's a
middle name.
shoe coming at you, right? Like your full
100%.
government name comes at you and you're ducking.
Woo!
Um,
Running for the
right? But
hills.
like, yeah, we're trying to find that happy medium here. I feel like me and Sean had this conversation the other day too, because there's just a basketball court put up near the house, and we got basketball, so we've taken the kids all the time.
I
Zadie's
love
like, I
it.
don't even like basketball. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. And she's been asking to go and stuff now too.
I
So
love
I'm like,
that.
hell yeah. So I feel like there's a piece too that, like our generation, were probably more active.
Yes,
I remember having
absolutely.
to walk everywhere. If I want to go see my
Everywhere.
friends, I had to walk everywhere. I never had a cell phone attached to me and distracting me from
Mm-mm.
hanging out with my friends, which probably freaked my parents out because they didn't really know where I was. But in the same
But we didn't
breath,
freak out that
you
much
weren't
back
always
then.
checking your phone every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And like we were explaining to the kids the other day, like those, as soon as those lights come on, those street lights come on, you went home. It didn't
Yeah.
matter where the hell you were. That was like the signal of going home.
Yep.
And I feel like growing up in the 90s,
Huh.
like, and compared to now, it's just so like that life that we had lived no longer exists.
Mm-mm.
Is no longer as safe it used to be. Most people don't even know their neighbors well enough to say, "Hey, can you watch my house for a weekend?"
Yeah.
We're building our own villages, and it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not the same. So I feel like
No.
there's a lot more effort having to be exerted. We're a lot more tired than we normally are because this is not how we're supposed to be living. We're
No,
supposed to be able to trust people.
and maybe that's why
And
kids are having mental health issues is because they don't have that community as much as they used to,
no,
and their connections are online and through a screen versus in real life. And
no,
like it really, like, I love this progression. Like, it's so cool that we are able to do this, and it's so cool at my job that I can literally video chat with someone that's 3 hours away and we can work together. And like, it's great that we can post this stuff on social media, but at the same time, it's like, if we're not making a valid effort to have human connection, it's going to lead to these mental health
yeah,
issues. And that's just my opinion. And I think, like, and to your point too, it's like, is depression and anxiety, can we also say that we just have phases of our life when we're going through that? Like, does everything have to be like high diagnosed, medicated, or is it just like you're going through a rough patch? We all go
yeah,
through them, right? And like, not saying people can't use tools. We all know I'm a huge stoner. I use the tools. But it's like,
hmm
what tools are you using with the risks, and is it worth it? Is it something we can work through? All that kind of stuff, right?
yeah,
So it's just like, like postpartum depression, for example. Like, that might last, I'm sure, for people at different times, but it's like, that's postpartum, and then you do, for the most part, from my understanding, you break out of it, right? So it's like,
hmm
maybe all depression, not all, but like majority of it is more like seasonal or environmental, or
yeah,
how you're taking care of yourself, not always like deep, dark rooted depression that you have to
yeah,
be on this medication for the rest of your life, right? So then that's good.
yeah. I'm
Like,
with
we
you.
went through, yeah, and like, I get it, we grew up in such a fucking weird time too, and then the start of the internet, and it was just a very confusing time. And then you had Zadie at like a decently young age, right? um
Yeah,
so
24, I think is when I
yeah,
had her.
which I think is like,
The
well,
math on that. I'm 30. How old am I?
I don't
35?
know, I'm man, I'm 38, 39 in December.
Maybe I'm 36? 30? I don't actually know.
I'm
I lost
86.
count after 30. I'm 30. I'm 30 with 5 years experience.
Perfect. Fuck. I'm 30 with 9 years experience. Damn it. We're almost
I
40
know,
with the 40
right?
years experience. But yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I'm saying decently young because I'm like 38. Not like I'm going to have a kid. But either way, you were going through like that 20 to like 25 is so different from 25 to 30, I feel like.
It
So
is.
like, you're right
It
on
is.
that cusp of going to that next part. So it's like, you had a couple years of partying at least. So it wasn't like you started partying and you had a baby, right? But I feel like that's still very,
I was pretty damn close.
well, fair,
But I
but
know what
like,
you
I
mean.
mean, you had a couple years.
I
It
know what you
wasn't
mean.
like
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
had a
yeah,
couple years at the bar and then it's over.
yeah.
But I feel like that's such a pivotal time from 25 to 30, because you're just like, oh my God, I'm not a kid anymore. I've been doing this. I've been an adult for a little bit. And then, so for yourself, was it like during pregnancy and the situation, do you feel like, or was it like you had baby and that was like a chemical, like what, can you explain postpartum? Obviously, I don't know what that's like.
That's okay. It went undiagnosed for a couple of years. I
Mm.
think when it came to me dating, I never really had. I'll be honest. Like when I first started dating, I was dating people who liked me,
Mm.
and they never necessarily liked me for who I was. I They were able to like me for who I could be, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. So I
Yep,
was
yep.
like very good at putting on like a facade and being who they wanted me to be. Very good at masking is now
Mm.
the word that I'm realizing that was I was actually doing.
Yeah.
Um, so I had lost myself in relationships in the way of I came out of these relationships and being like, I don't even know what I want to do anymore. Like I don't know
Mm.
who I am. And I was actually always the one who broke it off. I never wanted to be
Mm.
the one who had my heart broken. So I would be the asshole. Brandy was the ass. I was a big asshole. I would be that
Never to
person
me.
who
I'm
would like
so
break
glad.
up over people. I'd be that person who would break up over text message.
Mm.
Or I would just ghost people. And I look back now and I'm like, ooh, that's because I never knew how to actually vocalize my feelings, and that was
Yeah.
not okay. Until I moved up here with my boyfriend at the time when I first came up here in my early 20s.
Mm.
And um, I wasn't very good at having conversations about boundaries.
Mm.
Boundaries were always like a thing. Like I just thought there was like that mutual respect there. But what was happening is he was working away a lot, and he had this expectation of like of me being at home while he was away. And I wanted to still have a life and make friendships and make, relationships and like with work and stuff like that. Not obviously on the romantic side, because I'm like, why would you not trust me? So it got really old very quickly. I felt like I was being like Rapunzeled. I was being Rapunzeled and I was stuck in like a tower. And I'm like, this isn't going to work anymore. So I broke it off with him. Moved in with a coworker. That was terrible. Moved back in with him as a last resort because my coworker was a little crazy. And then lived in his spare room for a while, but was dating and I was going to the bar. And the people that I was choosing, Brandy, were definitely like the worst of the rebounds. And I look back now and I'm like, ooh, they were like out of convenience. They were, I was able to use sex as a power. Totally. I had this piece that was like I was on a power trip. I felt like almost like a siren to be like, hey, like, yeah, I got this.
And I hate to be this way, but I feel like a lot of the time too, there is this false narrative, I think in feminism in a sense, where it's just like you're a huge slut and then you're empowered. And it's like, I get it is empowering to embrace your body and your sexuality, but I don't personally believe from my experience that being a hoe makes you feel better. Like, I think actually having intimacy with the right person is unfucking real. Not like anything else, but just sleeping with random dudes because you can, in my opinion, didn't feel good for me. Now that I look, at the time I was like, and then I look back and I'm like, oh, now I have all this sexual trauma. Fantastic. What was I thinking?
Exactly.
We were sold that, right?
And I thought that maybe that would help me get over my sexual trauma because I had a boyfriend in high school who beat the shit out of me because I wouldn't give him oral, and that has stuck with me for several years. And then I've dated people who I would be like starting to get intimate with, and I would explain like, oh, well, that's not something that I do. Like, oh, that was so long ago. Like, how could that even be? Like, how's that even like a thing anymore? And I'm like, that's not quite how that works, bro. That's not how but okay, I won't talk to you no more. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Yes, so like, there's some pieces there that have like really added to like notches in my belt, some experiences. We won't get too far into that because that goes like a little bit deeper than that. Anyway. Yeah, 100%. And I just remember, meeting Zadie's dad at the bar, which is already off to a rough start, okay? Because you know that Hollie's we're not coherent enough to be. I'm singing, hey, I just met you. Yeah. This is crazy. As I'm giving him my number. Maybe you'll call me later. Right? So, like...
Don't you look back and I'm so proud of me. I'm so proud of me where I've come
I'm so proud of the growth. I'm so grateful I'm not dead in the back of a car somewhere
100%.
Or in a ditch.
Or
ended up with like an STI that is not curable.
100%.
There's a lot of pieces.
And now I'm like, I don't even like to go outside and breathe when they've sprayed the airs now. But give me a drug in the middle of a bar in my early 20s. I'm like, okay, let's see what this
Let's
brings.
go.
Let's go.
What color is this? What pill is this? We don't know.
Just
let's
one?
go. But now it's like... Now we won't even smoke weed that it's not from a distillery.
110%. It's like, no, I don't trust that shit. I need to know that it is like gone through the labs and it is being taken care of. 100%. I ain't fucking around. And that's because we made it through.
I don't want to fuck around and find out.
No, I don't. I just want to be around. That's it.
we fucked around too much and we found out a lot back then. We know our way. We know our things.
We're educated now. We're good. We're no more fucking around. Yeah, we're just gonna be chill.
So I ended up getting pregnant with Zadie. Me and her dad were only together for like 3 months. I was preventing. I got pregnant on the pill. Which was a big shock. In all ways. I was violently ill. Violently ill. I ended up having complications early on, so I had to go to the hospital. Thought I lost her. Was told I was probably pregnant with twins and lost one. Like the likelihood of that was like 98% because I went through that much blood loss, and she was a 50-50 shot of making it. So there's a lot of stress on my body, a lot of guilt on my body, a lot of like, what the fuck is happening? And with a dude I barely know. So then I always was in this idea that like, oh, if I have a baby with the guy, he's meant to be my person. Totally. Because it's like, this doesn't make any sense. How else, like, this feels like a miracle in all ways, because like birth control is supposed to be,
birth control
effective, right? So I ended up gaining a lot of weight, looking like I was still pregnant with twins. Actually, people used to comment about that quite a bit. I gained 82 pounds, but just belly. So from the back, I looked like I had a good, nice looking butt. It was turned side on, and I was like, woo, we were a whale. Yeah. I was a whale. Um,
You go with baby.
I went through an emergency C-section, and I think that that kind of stuck around too with a lot of like healing.
Yeah.
And he was not a supportive spouse, and I'm not to come and diss him. That's
No.
not the deal. But for the support that I needed for a first-time mom, I did not receive.
No.
Didn't receive from him. I didn't receive from extended family. I didn't receive from friends at the time because I also didn't know how to ask for it because I didn't know what I needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a really hard piece. My thyroid decided to stop working.
Mm-hmm.
So not only I didn't know how much this little butterfly gland in your throat actually affects a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So not only, yeah, and usually on women though, because we have been told to, you can't be mad about things or speak your voice, so we just hold it all within our bodies, right? So
That makes sense.
to like, bounce around a little bit, but um, I went undiagnosed with postpartum for 2 years. So my
Mm-hmm.
thyroid levels, I remember crying on the way to leaving the doctor's office because I went and had my stuff tested after I had Zadie, and he's like, "Your levels are fine. I don't know what's wrong." And I remember, like, I almost fell asleep on the drive there. I was so exhausted, B. I was so fucking tired, and I was
Yeah.
like, "This is terrifying." I almost fell
Yeah.
asleep driving at the wheel with a newborn in the back seat. I
Yeah.
remember talking to her dad and being like, "Hey, can you come with me to the doctor? Maybe there's something that you can see that I don't, that you can vocalize, that maybe I'm
Mm-hmm.
being like talked over, or maybe I don't know how to vocalize my feelings. That'd be really helpful." He said, "No, that's on you. That's your own shit." So I feel like looking back now,
Mm-hmm.
speaking of the person that we're speaking of,
Mm-hmm.
and being the person that I am now versus who I was then,
Totally.
um, I recognize that a lot of it was situational.
Yeah. Right.
So it was a
Okay.
lot of situational. As soon as like I have blurred out the couple of years that I was a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the way intentionally, but I think there's a lot of trauma there that was just very much so in survival mode
Yeah.
that I look back now and I was like, oh, no wonder why I was skinny. Your girl was
Wasn't that?
not
Yeah.
okay, and it was
And
not a good
yeah.
healthy skinny.
Yeah.
I don't think I wasn't eating properly. I was running 2 or 3 jobs at the once. Um, I was dating opposite weeks that I never had Zadie, so she never had to be a part of things. I was
Mm-hmm.
very blocked off to the idea of dating
Mm-hmm.
seriously at that point too, because I didn't want that to impact my parenting. I still went back and was doing some of the partying stuff, but it was a little bit more.
It wasn't
Uh,
crazy. Like it wasn't crazy. Like we had a couple fun nights and stuff, right? Because that's, I
yeah,
think,
and
I think
yeah,
Zadie was like maybe 1 or 2 when we met. She was
yeah,
really
and like
little, and I
she
didn't
was little,
party
and I
much,
think
and you didn't party much, and that's why
no,
we got along because we were creative. Like our parties was like, hey, come over and bring pumpkin pie, and we're gonna make a dance routine for your fucking fashion show. Like that was our
yeah,
partying.
it was, but I feel like that was also because your girl was so fucking broke she couldn't afford to buy
True.
booze.
Fair. That's very fair. Like very
To
valid
be
points.
honest,
Yeah,
I
I'm not a
was like,
drinker, but very fair.
but I think like I was looking back, I was playing with my money story, so it's like a big piece of my healing stuff right now is that I had
Yeah.
realized I gave a lot of my um oh my I've given people control over the
Mm-hmm.
narrative of my own financials over
Yeah.
years and years
Yeah.
and years and years. So I'm learning where some of these ideas have come from,
Yeah. Rewrite
what
them.
limiting beliefs they had had on me. And I had realized that I had given a lot of control to my ex because,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you made me a single mom. Oh,
Yeah.
I had to do this and this and this because I was a single mom because of you, of what you did. But
Mm-hmm.
now I'm kind of switching the narrative on that because, okay, yeah, but it takes two to tango.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that
It
I
was great.
wasn't
Yeah.
deserving of it,
No.
but at the same time,
Yeah.
I also didn't want to stick around with that. Like, I can't imagine that being my life now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
like, it
Exactly.
did me a favor, but also you don't get to control and dictate how I live my life now. You
Totally.
actually don't
Totally.
get to have that say.
No.
Um,
No. But
so
that's
I
such a
think
good
that's
healing part too, right? Like when
yeah,
you can, and I'm not saying like he's an abuser, but there's a part in healing when whoever hurts you or the abuser or whatever, when you can not, when you can be grateful for them or that
yeah,
experience, it's a whole other level, right? Because I always think like
yeah,
if you're happy for the most part where you are now and where in life is, like who's to say that the good or the bad got you there? It's a combination of both, right? Like I always think if I
yeah,
didn't have, a father that wasn't really present, maybe I wouldn't be able to stand up for what I deserve in a man earlier in life, and
yeah,
then not demand that, but put that's out what I need is someone that is supportive and like there all the time, and that is what I got, right? And I don't know that if I didn't have that totally opposite thing, like maybe being mirrored. Do you know what I mean? Like I get
Yeah.
you had a good dad, and you didn't always pick the good guys either, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
which is crazy, but
But it's interesting because I think the lessons that I learned from dad in the way of like I really wanted to see the best in people. So I
yeah,
think that kind of went too far in the way that I picked really shitty people
fair.
previously because I seen their potential and I
Yeah,
settled
fair.
for what their potential was, even though they showed me what their true things were, and I just had my rose tinted glasses on. And I
Well,
don't
who
love the
wants to
word
believe
abuser.
that everyone's
I don't.
shit, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, and that's what I mean. But like when they show it to you, we should believe it.
100%, a hundred
Because we
percent.
can't change people
No. But people can
in
change,
that
and
way.
that's the shitty part
Yeah,
too, right? So it's like
yeah,
finding that
yeah,
balance of being like, okay, not, but then like, okay, don't take them back all the time. Not taking them back, but forgive all the time. But if there's like a
yeah,
valiant effort to change, right? Because like if it's your own shit, like if someone's going through their own shit and by proxy you get hit by some of that splatter, let's
yeah.
just say, like that's one
Some
thing. If you're
shit splatter.
you know what I'm saying? Like when they're
Ew.
going through shit
Yes.
and your spouse is going through shit and you're like, this isn't really my shit, but you're kind of getting shit
Yeah,
all over me, but we're spouses, so I'm going to be there. You know, like that,
yeah,
it's like, it's different. If they're actively hurting you and not changing, then that's a whole different
yeah,
story. But if it's just like
yeah,
something that's within them, maybe their own self-confidence they need to work on, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some
yeah.
forgiveness that we can have of growth, but if it's like actually detrimental, then like absolutely
Mhm.
not. You should need to
Like I
call
look
that out.
right, and I feel like I don't love the word abuser, but there was
No, but
some like very abusive pieces in there. Like he was very
behavior.
manipulative in the way of emotionally and financially, but also incredibly codependent
Hmm.
financially. And I think that was like the best toxic way for that to be. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like at
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
end of the
It's a perfect
day, it's
shitstorm sometimes, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. And I think like I
it's
think
part
back
of growth
now,
too,
and
though. Like, if you didn't have that, you wouldn't
yeah,
know this now. So it's like, okay,
no,
it's a lessons learned, right? So it's like, hey, thanks.
there's
I don't want this
but like
anymore.
also we're kind of over the lessons. Like I'm kind of
True.
I made a comment to a friend the other day, and I was like, guys, like I'm kind of like I would like for things to just be normal for a
I'm
while because you would
enlightened.
think
Thanks.
like it's been 10 years and we're conquering new territory. We're always learning about how to communicate differently because Zadie's needs are changing. So me and her dad are communicating differently. Me and the stepmom are not communicating at all, which is good for where we are.
Hmm.
And I think that just comes in waves. And I also noticed
Totally.
myself too when I said earlier that there's triggers coming out for myself. I'm like
Yeah.
looking at Zadie and I'm getting little 11-year-old Holly is getting jealous of the support that Zadie's receiving because I never received it.
Of
And
course. I
I had
feel
to like
that.
take myself and put myself in timeout. She came home with a dress ready to wear it for picture day tomorrow. I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But in the back of my head, I was like, oh, look, I really wish I was a part of helping her choose her outfit, and I really wish I was a part of these pieces. And I'm always feeling like I'm being left out.
Yeah.
But then like, the pieces like it actually isn't have anything to do with me. It's little Holly, little 11-year-old Holly never got to have these moments with her mom, even though Zadie's mom really wants to be a part of those things. So it was like
Yes.
very like full circle, and I was like, I look at Zadie. She's like, "Mom, are you mad at me?" And I was like, "I'm not. I'm being a brat. I'm being a brat. I need to go
Good for
check
you for
myself. I need to go
calling
take
that out.
10,
Yeah.
and I need to go like put myself in timeout, and I'll come
Hmm.
back in a few minutes, and I'll explain to you in a little bit of what that looks like. I'm okay. We're okay. Everything is actually fine. But
Yeah, this
mommy
is
just had
good.
some weird emotions come up for her that she needs to go
Yeah.
deal with that have nothing to do with where you're at. We are totally good.
That's
But it
good.
was just like
That's
very
amazing.
interesting that way. But
Hmm.
yeah, postpartum stuff. Apparently, if you get it once, it's more likely to happen again.
Okay.
So, when I was like undiagnosed, I guess, for a couple of years there,
Yeah.
when I was living the single life and things were starting to look up, we were working one job versus, seven.
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Anything you had to do to like anything, I was still in survival mode, but it felt less survival.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
felt more that I can have more freedom. It was still very like in the way if I had to figure out how to pay for rent on my own, but I also had the ability to work how I wanted. I never had anybody saying like what time you're gonna be home. I had more support in my
Hmm.
life as a single parent than I did when I was coupled up with a
Yeah.
newborn.
Yeah. Very fair. Because
So
people are
and then I
probably
learned a
thinking
lot.
you have that support, right? Like,
Yeah,
unless you tell them, right? They're just assuming,
yeah.
and you're like, actually, no, I'm drowning, but thanks.
I'm drowning. Yeah, like and like looking back now, it's like night and day. Like the experience that I had with the girls is totally different,
Yeah.
and I'm so grateful that it worked out the way that it did, and I didn't know what to expect the second time. I was actually like super excited when I found out that we were expecting with Reina, but also fucking terrified because I lived
Of
back in
course.
that mindset of like, oh fuck, like what happens if XYZ? What happens if I get sick or
Postpartum again. Yeah.
all those pieces. But like I remember I had been threatened that if I was on medication for my postpartum depression, it was going to be used against me potentially custody wise.
Yeah.
And that grossed me out. I'm like, how dare you ever? This is
Yeah.
actually more common than you think it is.
Yeah.
I
I
was
can
told that
see
it
that.
wasn't real. I was like, I had him tell me that it wasn't real. This isn't real. Maybe if you got up off of your ass and did something, it would be, you'd feel better. Now, not to play devil's advocate because the devil doesn't need any advocates, but maybe he
No.
never understood, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But it was just like a really shitty feeling being in it.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, I look back now and he's like, he got scared. Man got scared. He got scared that he was going to lose his kid. I
Mm-hmm.
can see it now. Back then, I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? I'm going to take you for, and I'm not that
Yeah.
person.
No.
And I could never,
No.
right?
No.
So, but like living a single parenting life, and then I think I told you about how Sean kind of came along, and
Mm-hmm.
I friend zoned him hard. I was like,
Yeah. We
listen, like
usually
I came
do.
with baggage. Yeah, I was like, I came with baggage. I can't see you without being my friend in my life. Um, and then he's like, fine, okay, if you need some space, I'll give you some space. He gave me space. And I'm like, where are you? I miss you. Come back.
Fucking bitches
So,
always say they want one thing and they want another.
but I was so scared because I
Of
came with
course.
so much emotional damage in the way
Mm.
of like I at that point never knew if I was deserving of having a
Well, and
relationship
the
and
trust
that would
is
be
just broken too with
it's
men
just
in
broken
general.
and
Yeah.
but also with myself
And yourself.
because if
Yeah.
I'm not able to communicate what it is that I want, what happens if I do that again where I am putting on the show for a person and I'm exhausted and I'm masking and they don't actually get to know who I actually am and
Yeah.
I don't know who I actually am and then what do I do?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't want to lose
And
I
then you
didn't
have a
want to lose
kid.
myself.
And you have a
Yeah,
kid and
and on top of
another
that,
on top of that, right? That you have to consider
and
that
like
you never had to when you were single.
right.
Mm.
So I think that like it was really interesting because I know that I still occasionally have anxiety and it shows up in
Mm.
different ways. But when me and Sean first got together, he could recognize it
Okay.
and he would just be looking at me and he was so good at distracting me. So like say if we had a rocky changeover or something kind of came up and or like for a while there, Zadie's medications were we were trying to figure out what's happening with her breathing and her asthma stuff. He would distract me and be like, "Hey, do you want to do a puzzle with me?" And I look back now and I was like, "Oh my God, he was distracting me to
To
like
keep you busy.
get my head off of something."
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that was really interesting
That's
now.
super cute.
Um, but now as the kids are getting older, my anxiety looks different. I'm more anxious about things that I never thought I'd be anxious about before. Um, depression wise, we do get the seasonal stuff that goes into the I don't want to get out of my bed, but I
Yes.
don't think it's like that same
Clinical.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like after I had Reina, I was worried about having it again for postpartum,
Of course.
and I was very honest with my doctor. I was like, "Hey, girl, like this is how it went last time. It was missed. I had complications. I had emergency C-section. I want to make sure that we're setting myself up for success this time around because I don't want to go
Totally.
through that again. It was
No.
literal hell."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I am 100% with you." She put me down on the list to make sure that I had. I came in my checkup. I did all my tests, stuff like that. And when it came to, I got to do some counseling through Alberta Health Services as well. They hooked me up with a counselor,
Nice.
um, which I like. It was actually amazing. And on their last, I think I did like 4 different sessions with that counselor. And on the last session, Sean actually got to come and he actually showed up.
Oh.
And I was so happy that he showed up because nobody showed
He
up
just
for me
showed
like
up.
that, the
Yeah.
capacity before. But he
Yeah.
did. He was there and he was talking about how proud he was of me of being a mom. And he took time off work when we first had Rena. And that had never happened in the
Yeah.
previous relationships. He
Yeah. I
took off.
remember the night and day
Um,
support. Hearing it from
yeah,
you,
it was
anyways. Yeah.
yeah, and Sean never let me change a diaper. Anytime he was home, I never changed a diaper. And like just like the small pieces that it like realistically shouldn't be that like oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Like oh that was so supportive. But like
Should just be
the
how it
difference
is.
between yeah, it should just be how it is. But I think that with it, Sean was just so smitten and so proud and just like all these pieces. And I remember being, the doctor had said that my levels were, I was in the gray area. So I was kind of sitting, when they do the quiz, they give you like a, hey, how are you feeling this day? Do you feel
Yeah.
like you want to jump off of a bridge? Are there intrusive thoughts? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Totally.
Very like multiple
Clinical.
choicey,
But yeah.
and yeah, very clinical. And I was kind of like on that cusp. So she's kind of like a little bit worried about you. Maybe we'll try you on like a really small dosage of Zoloft. And I was like, okay, I'm not opposed to it if it's gonna be helpful. I don't want it to be missed, and I don't want to be in like once before like with Zadie, I would like literally go put her in a room. She was a good baby.
Yeah.
She slept a lot. She was good. I used to go put her in a room, and I would go sit outside and cry because I didn't know what else. I didn't know what to do with her. I didn't know what to do, and that doesn't feel good for me to be able to not have control over what I'm supposed to be doing. Nobody tells me anything. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
I felt like so
Overwhelming.
unsupported and all alone.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to put on clothes to go to like a mommy and me group. That doesn't have, you know. And the second time around, I remember. I think I might probably told you the story last time on like season one, many
Yeah.
seasons ago. But
Many moons.
I remember I was sitting on the couch. I had baby Raina laying on me. I just finished nursing. I had a mask on my face. We were watching something on Netflix. I was like, ooh, I really should go do a load of laundry now. And I picked Raina up, took her with me to go put laundry in, which doesn't make any sense. And I'm pouring like liquid detergent. Raina's right here, and she falls through my arm and falls onto the floor, and she is bawling because I just dropped my baby on the floor.
Yeah.
Now she's a couple months old, and I share this because
Lots of
it happens all the time. I called a friend. Sean was at work. We got to the hospital. My friend brings me to the hospital. The nurse is like, "Hey, like everything looks great. She's looking really good.
Yeah.
But do you want to see a doctor?" And my friend looks at me. She's like, "Yes, you are gonna want to see a doctor because your anxiety will not tell you otherwise." I'm like, "You're absolutely right. We're gonna go to the doctor." I remember calling Sean, and I was like, "Oh my God, is he going to act like, you know, the other person would have acted? Is this gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm like my heart is
scared.
Oh my God, I'm going to be told that I'm a shitty mom. I'm going to be here. I'm ready to hear this shit because because that's what I was used to.
Yeah.
I called him and he's like, okay, I'll be right there. He gets here and he looks at me. He's like, babe, did you eat yet? I don't think I could have loved that man more. To this day, he'll occasionally joke about it, and I'm like, that's not that funny. But like, we've also come to a point where like the ladies at the hospital were like, girl, this is like Fight Club.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about Fight Club, so I'll continue talking about it because But then that was at that moment that I was like, I don't want to be on Zoloft anymore. If I can't, I look back now and it never made sense.
Yeah.
Why was I doing that? I was not fully present in my body.
Because I told
my body was like, oh.
Right?
Yeah, but like, why is my body telling me to pour laundry detergent while I'm holding my baby? Like, we could put her down.
Yeah.
There's like those pieces. So I'm like, if I can't trust myself and the actions that I'm doing on a medication like that, I don't want to be on it. So 100%. I went off of that immediately. Yeah. Immediately.
Yeah, that's very fair. And did they give you anything before, after like Zadie, when you got diagnosed after Zadie? Did they ever give you any medication, or was it just like, oh, you're diagnosed and you're like out now, so we're not gonna like any medications or anything before?
I think I was on something. I think it might have been Zoloft then too, but I feel like I actually don't remember. I actually don't remember. That was such a long time ago now that my brain has probably just blocked it out. Yeah, but I was on it for a short stint of time, and it was honestly just when I was first single parenting. Just because of the impact of the stress and stuff like that, the ADHD kind of like, I feel like I've always had it. But I was able to deal with it until I had babies. And then as the babies and the things have come up, and then you're needed for different things, and you no longer can keep up the same capacities. Yeah. Sorry, my nose is incredibly itchy. Oh my gosh.
It's just, she's doing a bunch of cocaine, everyone.
Yeah, right?
That aren't watching. She's doing a bunch of blow, and you're just listening. Hollie's doing a bunch of blow.
Could you imagine that? My heart will just die.
You're right?
Just keel over.
You're like, I don't want pharmaceuticals now. I want the recreational cocaine. Just kidding.
Right? Just give me right. But I'm like, that means I'm gonna get into a fight or kiss a fool, isn't it? I don't know that logic,
but it's interesting too, though, that like, and I'm not saying people shouldn't and don't come at me, but I always find it super interesting. It's like, you're giving medication that are going to actually like stop people from thinking clearly. And like, I understand like sometimes like, cause I know I had anxiety medication and like, sometimes I just feel like my brain was blank. I'm like, is there thoughts in here? Like, what is going on? I felt so alone in my head. And like, yeah, maybe I wasn't having all these extra thoughts, but it's like, those thoughts are what helps me get through the day and figure shit out too. And like, I just wasn't creative, and it's just like, I feel like it just detaches you from your body, and it blows my mind that at such the most vulnerable time from a mother, they're just like, go on Zoloft or fucking Valium and all these things. Like, I get it for sometimes, like, people don't hate on me. I get it. I haven't been a mom, but at the same time, I'm like, is that the right time? Like, you're not allowed to operate a vehicle on some of those things. Should we be giving that to new moms? Like,
can't operate a forklift,
but hold your baby.
For sure, nurse the baby.
Take care of it 24/7 without any sleep.
You know, it's drinking milk out of your body, and
drinking
you have
that
medications
maybe
in your body.
Like,
there's some stuff there, and I understand to an extent too. Like, I think in ways, like the first time around, it definitely kept me alive.
For sure. But that's what we talked about before, right? Survival and using a tool through a time.
Yeah. And I think like after I was told like, oh, I'm gonna tell everybody that you're on medications and you're gonna have the baby taken from you and stuff like that. When I had those threats, that's when I kind of dug deeper into my toolbox. Like, what other ways can I help support my system without taking this? Because I also, when a medication comes with like suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, when it's like an antidepressant, that is also like a major red flag for me, because I'm like, I'm already feeling pretty shitty and my hormones are out of whack. So like, maybe if I concentrated more on my hormones and my food intake, that'll feel better. So with Raina, I was on it for like, honestly, a month or two. And when I went to the counseling at the Alberta Health Services, they also did my testing for ADHD. And they're like, "Ooh, you're on there." And I'm like, "Of course I am. That doesn't surprise me at all." She's like, "But the surprise part was," she's like, "Oh, how do you find that people affect your mood?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And she's like, "You're on the gray area there for BPD." And I was like, "Oh." And I was like, "So what you're saying is like I'm empathic?" And she's like, "Yeah, scientifically." And I'm like, "Oh, so there's like some like overlap there." So I just think I have some magic.
100%.
And some of it is trauma based.
Yeah, and that could be a thing too.
I have learned some things. But I think like with that, I think there's, with that comes back to the place of like, I am able, when it's not even like necessarily trusting other people, it's learning to trust myself versus other people. Yeah, and my instincts and my gut. Even though I'm like, how does one with the IBS trust your gut when you can't even fucking digest ice cream properly? But hey!
But you know what? I almost want to blame that on
our...
I kind of want to blame that on our shitty food. I bet you anything, if you had like gelato from Italy, I bet you'd fucking have that just fine. You know what I mean?
I'd be fine.
If people that are gluten-free or like gluten intolerant and like celiac, I'm like half wondering, like, if you went to Europe and you ate the bread over there, like, is it really how our foods, like in the pasta, would you be okay because of the way we make foods here? And like, but completely agree. It's just like, okay, well, I'm shitting myself if I eat one thing too much, and now you're telling me to trust my gut. But at the same time, I think it's like that gut instinct, right? And because I think historically you and myself have been people pleasers as well. That doesn't bode well with trusting your gut, because trusting your gut usually has to go against people that you probably have been making excuses for, or you know that you just don't want to have those or can't have those safe conversations, and you're like, well, my instinct is telling me that I can't trust this person, but I can't have that conversation with this person because then I even don't trust having a conversation. And that's the difference, I think, in our relationships now. Both of us feel safe to be able to say whatever the fuck we want and work through it, and our spouses aren't going to leave us. In fact, they encourage healing. Like, Grant is continually asking me, like, if we go through something, like, is there anything that I'm doing to contribute? Like, we've really worked through this communication where we're like sharing, like, okay, you're having this insecurity, is there some way I'm contributing to it? Is there a way that I can operate different to make you feel better or whatever? And it's just like, it's such a beautiful thing when you have that safety of being like, I'm spiraling. I like randomly, so like, for example, this is just how great things have gotten, but this will explain where I think sometimes it's not fully a mental health diagnosis and it's just the relationships that you're in, because we've been together going on 9 years, and someone shared they were calling her out saying that she's trying to be a men's mental health advocate, but she actually has like leading up to an OF page. And so that's when I had found her. And then I like went to her page and it's like, oh, Grant's following her. I'm like, having a bad day. So I'm immediately spiraling. I'm like, why are you filing an OF model? Like, again, follow who you want. Because really at the end of the day, like, your body, your choice, do whatever. But so I texted him. I was like, hey, I'm just having a moment. I'm having a spiral and it's probably nothing, but just curious, like, how come you're following this girl or this OF model? And he's like, she's not an OF model. She's a men's advocate like person. So she was talking about men's advocates stuff and I liked it. And I was like, yeah, great. That makes sense. As you should. I was like, but she's getting called out by like the biggest men's advocate of like doing this and getting people to her page. And then now she's selling like not safe for work stuff. And like, we know where this is going, right? And he's like, oh, I had no fucking idea. He's like, I'm sorry, like, I just followed her because of this. I'm like, no, it's all good. I want you to keep following her, but just be aware that this is happening, and thank you for working through that with me. Like, you know, I don't know what I would have said if he was like, oh, I signed up for her spicy content. I don't know what I would say at that point, but it was just like, no, that I want you to follow women, especially ones that are resonating with you and saying things, especially in the men's mental health avenue. I think that is beautiful. I think you should do that, but just be aware that she could be using her following to then push that. So if you start seeing that, like,
100%.
Can you please, like, maybe not, like, or, you know, be what mindful. I mean? Like, just be mindful of that, because then it's just like, you know, do you think that looks good if you're liking this, like, someone knows her as an OF and you're liking all this stuff and we're engaged? Like, I'm not saying that you can't, but at the same time, like, but it's not even about the content of the conversation. It was that immediately, like, well, if you're uncomfortable with this, I don't give a fuck. That's nobody. Like, if that, and I'm like, no, like, but like before I would freak out and be like, what the fuck? Like, you're dead, you know what I mean? But now it's just like, hey, can you help me work through this? Because we've had that safety that even if in his insecurity, he thinks that I'm accusing him of something, he's not insecure in our relationship. So he knows that it's actually me and my shit that this reaction is coming from, and it's actually not his shit, because we've worked through that together, right? So it's like, now I don't have, like, people would say when I grew up that I have anxiety, and I'm like, situationally, sure, I've been in 6 car accidents, so driving in the car sometimes in certain situations that I've been in a car accident, my body reacts to that, but I actually have safety in my family and any of my relationships to be who I am and speak who I am, so I don't have that living in anxiety more, because I'm not in fight or flight mode. Sure, there might be some saucy emails, or I might get hacked and my identity stolen. Those are valid moments to have anxiety, but I think we've gotten so far from having a reaction, whether that's a depression one, an anxious one, all these mental health diagnoses, versus being like, that's who you are and you need to be permanently medicated. And I think that's kind of like where you're at, right? Where you're just like, is that really the answer? So I think more we'll title this mental health medicated versus medicated, because you've been like in those depressive states and the medication actually made you worse. So were you depressed, or were you just having a moment where your situation was fucked and your body's like,
we're just like, we don't know what's going on.
Wacky inflatable tube man, right? Like, is medication forever the answer, or is it temporary? Like, hey, take this for a little bit until your situation gets better. Get the fuck off it right away.
But the thing is that nobody trains us how to do that. And
not at all.
That I find really scary. Yes. Because, like, for myself, I was very resistant for going on Vyvanse. But I pushed myself to go on it, because when I had all of that had happened, the therapist, we were done with my sessions, I was supposed to follow up, but naturally I forgot and never did. I found out that they closed my case. I was having a lot of tummy issues. I was talking to somebody on telehealth explaining I was having a lot of tummy issues. My gallbladder, I was having a lot of gallbladder attacks. I was telling the doctors that I think I'm having a gallbladder attack. I was gaslit an obscene amount of times, because apparently how I was explaining it, it was not textbook gallbladder attack. I was in and seen 6 different times. And they were like, oh, you're fine, basically. I was given morphine a couple of times. Morphine didn't touch the pain I was in. It didn't touch it, which is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I had a gallbladder attack that lasted 8 hours. So usually supposed to last like 2. That was the last one and then I was on the list for gallbladder removal. And then, amongst that, my gallbladder had gotten so bad that no matter what I ate, I could have had a big juicy burger, or I could have had a salad, and I had the same reaction. I was puking. I was having a gallbladder attack. I was so fucking sick. But it never changed anything in the way that my tummy was so bloated and so upset all the time that I was actually starting to worry if I had, like, done damage to my guts. I was like, am I, like, what is happening to my insides? I was finally got my gallbladder. I got on the list.
Mm.
My dad passes away a week before,
Right.
and then my mom decides that she's still gonna have his funeral service as well, and I can't make it there.
Yeah.
So knowing that he passed away on the Friday, the following Wednesday I had surgery. They had his funeral the Friday, 2 days later. I live streamed it with a glitching internet, bawling my face off, and in so much pain from post surgery. I went back to Newfoundland the following week, so a week after surgery, flew across country with two young kids. Don't recommend.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I remember watching it. Not crazy,
And
but
I
I was
mean,
like,
I would have.
oof.
And the shitty part is like Sean doesn't get really like he was working somewhere he didn't get holiday pay, so he can just
Yeah.
like up and leave. We weren't in that situation for me to be able to have that support for him to come with me, which I understand. But it really sucked because I really would have loved for him too. But we weren't in the financial position because I had been off work because I was so sick.
Makes sense.
So then that puts like a lot of pressure on everything too with like finances and the mental health part. And I came back from all of that. Dad was passed for a while. I'm like, it's been like over a year. I think it's like 2 years. Remember the time I told you that I pooped my pants on the side of the road? It's been 2 years.
I'm so proud of you that
That's
we've moved past this from then.
Oh my God, I've made so much progress.
So much.
But every time I
Fair.
drive past that place, because like I that's the route that I go. I don't take it very often now because I
Fair.
don't need to be in that part of town. But also like I subconsciously think of that time. I'm not gonna go into too many details about that time, but essentially, it was enough to trigger me to be like, okay, something's seriously wrong. But like I even just driving past it right now, my butt clenches, and I'm just like, fuck. Remember that time? Just so
The
embarrassed.
visceral reaction.
It's just like, oh fuck. But like it was definitely a pivotal moment that I'm like, I cannot continue living in this constant state of stress.
Yeah.
Because my body is now to the point where it's gotten so used to the grief, the stuff that I thought I was dealing with, but it was very surface level. And the hard part with healing is that there's going to be a lot of people out there who are like, oh, like come heal with me. But here's the thing, it's not linear. You're healing different parts of your stuff. It's going to come up differently for everybody. Grief on itself is very complex. You're going to hit different waves. It's not like the 5 stages of grief. It's like 15 and different orders.
Yeah.
And the thing is with a trigger, like I love that's a buzzword now, but like also thing with a trigger, it's like a word is we don't know when our triggers are going to hit, okay?
No.
So that's not something that's real unless you are like really got some stuff with that you have allergies and you're like, hey, I know what my trigger is because I was at my friend's house hanging out with her cat.
Yeah.
No, that's not really realistically. I'm like, fuck, like I've come to a point now, like I have the ADHD. I think I'm a little on the tism side of things because I've become this person I have safe foods, which I never thought was a thing until I talked to a friend about it a little while ago, that I'm like, you know those like poor nachos? We love a good poor nachos. They're just like Tostitos and shredded cheese in the microwave.
Yeah.
That's the po nachos, but they're salty and they're delicious, and I would eat them every day. I went on a certain like that. I ate those every day for like several weeks, and then my guts are pissed.
Fair.
No shit, Hollie can't do cheese. So even my safe foods ain't safe.
They're not safe. It can be some nostalgia too. I find like for me, it's like those foods are like that taste of nostalgia. Or like you go back to like a burger place that you loved, and you're like, this is the best, and you had it, and you're like, this is trash. I'm so disappointed.
100%. But I think there was like some pieces there that I'm like, I know what it's gonna taste like. I know that it's not gonna make myself
the
sick.
comfort, right?
But I'm like, and it's like the sensory thing of like, oh, it's got a good crunch and it's got that ooze.
Yeah.
Like there's some stuff there, okay?
Totally.
But like I'm also that person, like I need to know if I'm going to where parking is at a restaurant.
Yeah.
I need to know what's on their menu so I can make sure I can eat something off of it. Not that I have many things that I can't eat, but I also will always eat the same thing that I know.
As someone with an allergy, you just have to do that. It could just be like, I'm here on earth and I'm not wasting my time trying shit I know I'm not going to like, so I'm just going to go with what I like and my comfort foods. But I think it's fair to say, like, there's so many things to explore with ourselves, and I think it's so beautiful that we can now. I think my biggest concern about it is, like, a lot of the times these labels come with a medication, right? And that seems to be what the answer is. And instead of like giving people tools of it, it's like, oh, okay, well, you're on this spectrum. And I'm not saying people should or shouldn't, but it's like, then you need to be on this medication for the rest of your life. And it's like, That's the part that I struggle with. And I'm just like, is that really the answer? And I'm not saying that for everyone though, right? Because like for me, it's like, oh, well, you have anxiety. You have generalized anxiety. Do I? Or am I just a person and a millennial going through shit? And we're at a time where we're getting information at an exorbitant level. And I'm not saying, please just mind me for a second. And I'm not saying that people all don't, but do we all have ADHD or is it TikTok rot? Not TikTok, but you know what I'm saying? Is it how we're consuming stuff? Are we writing anymore? Yeah. Are we doing long form content? Like I refuse to do short form content. I'm on YouTube all the time. That's why my videos are no shorter than half an hour, 20 minutes at the smallest, because it's all good, but I don't want to be contributing to the short attention span. So I also do wonder if a lot of this is behavioral and situational over the last couple of years too. Is that why we're seeing this? Because, you know, when we're in school, yes, of course there are people that have it, but I bet you anything now, people are having the same kind of behaviors and just getting diagnosed with it and then just being put on medication. Yeah. I think it's just too easy right now, and I'm sorry not to say that, but looking how they've done gender dysphoria, I just feel like we're very much being like, oh, you have this mental illness, even though we can be wrong, and we have been wrong. Like, I know people that have been diagnosed and are on heavy antipsychotics, and they're like, oh, maybe you just have ADHD. Yeah, but you're giving me like Lupron? What the fuck? Like, look at Britney Spears and like all of those. This is what I'm saying. Like, we're wondering why everyone's going crazy. We'll stop putting people on so many antipsychotics and medication that probably don't combine well, which leads me to the next conversation. And you know where I'm going with this exactly. Like that. Hey, it's like I've been doing this for a while. Hey. So speaking of that, which is another big concern, is how do these medications operate with each other? Yeah. And if the doctor has a diagnosis wrong, which we know they have because they're like, well, there's so much in this ADHD category, but you kind of hit on the TISM scale, but you kind of hit PPT, but maybe you kind of, and it's like, then how do you know you're medicating properly? How do you know there's a chemical imbalances? Like, and then if you do that, how do you know that you're not fucking people up? So let's go through your situation. So you were on, how did it work exactly with you and your dual medications?
So I've been on a thyroid med since I had Zadie. So when they had diagnosed or misdiagnosed my postpartum, I was put on Synthroid. Very low dosage just to kind of even out my thyroid levels, because they were like, I don't even know how you're functioning, girl. You are a mess. So I'm like, cool. So it was a bit higher for the first little bit till we leveled out. I was on the same dosage, oh my gosh, for several years. Very low. I think it was like 0.5, so it's less than 1 milligram. So like very low. Yeah. They basically told me that if I went on it though, I would never be able to come back off. And that shit pissed me off. So over 2020, I went off of it for a little bit. Yeah. I went back on it. I wanted to see, as I'm like, also in my brain, I think of things like, say if you are on antihistamine for too long, you have to like rotate it out because your body gets too used to it. Yeah. Or if like a painkiller, like I am the same way. I don't do really great with medications in the first place. I don't like to use them, all these pieces. Yeah. After that had happened with me pooping my pants on the side of the road, I had a lot of tests done, and my liver looked like the size of a morbidly obese alcoholics. And I don't drink, I don't really party, so they were very concerned about the size of my liver. And here I'm thinking, anything that I take usually has an impact on your liver, eh?
Usually, yeah, it's gotta function it.
Usually. Yeah. And did you know our generation right now is probably the wildest generation to have issues with their livers?
That doesn't surprise me.
No, not between our food intake and our medication.
And all the other things, all the
liver,
all the smells,
all the chemicals, all the smells. Oh my god!
Everything had to have a smell. Everything had to be smelly. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't. I walk past Body Works. I run away. I'm like, I can't. I'm gonna puke with all these fucking smells.
Me too.
Like maybe one I can handle, but all 18 at the door.
And I think another thing too, when it comes to like our generation too, I guess we're like one of the highest generations too that have colon cancer, because of the lack of water that we have intaken. And I was like, I'm getting the kids ready for school, and they're like water bottles, and I was like, I don't even remember having a fucking water bottle at school. Oh my God, but like maybe that's coming back to get us now, right? But anyway, I was after my ADHD diagnosis, so essentially after that incident with the road and whatever. I pushed my doctor into diagnosing me again with ADHD because it had been so long that I would have had to wait several years to get back in because they had closed my file.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, are you able to do a quick thing with me? Because I was like, because he couldn't figure out what had happened. He's like, I think that might just be like your vagus nerve, you're in fight or flight. that just happens. You can just glitch out. And I'm like, cool. So you're telling me that I could just be driving, black out, and get real sick. And this had been like, I had a couple of episodes after that too, which were enough to scare me into, I think it was things that like, I had Starbucks pumpkin spice. And I was like, maybe I'm having a reaction to whatever's in the pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's just like a very aggressive IBS response. And it put me in a full shutdown. So I forced, I guess not, I can't really force anybody into it, but I advocated hard. Advocated hard to get a proper diagnosis again. And I said, would it be worth considering going on a medication as a last resort for a little bit until we can figure out what is going on? Because I did recognize too that I was binging because I was forgetting to eat, and then I was eating, and I was eating a lot, and I was like, okay, like maybe I overloaded my body, and now my body's like, what the fuck is this? And full explosion, right? Or I was having coffee in the morning on an empty stomach, so it was just rupturing my inside of my guts. So I'm like, okay, like if this is the case, then maybe this is an option. So we experimented with my dosage because I wanted to see how I would react. I was on 40 milligrams, which is standard. It's actually kind of the lower side, actually, which is pretty wild. Vyvanse is considered a stimulant. And for me, in stimulants, your girl can't do cocaine. She would die because I can't do stimulants in my life. I would, no doubt. I can't do more than make 2 or 3 cups of coffee without me vibrating or feeling like I'm going to be sick. So stimulants for me are great that they, in the way that, okay, that makes me just do things faster, but doesn't help with sleep, if that makes sense. Like I could still have a coffee at 10 p.m. and go to bed.
Brad's like that too.
So I was like, okay, well, this is fine. I'll try this Vyvanse. And for the first little bit, I'm like, okay, 30 feels like too much, because even with my morning coffee, 40 felt like too much. I would do 2 20 milligram pills is how they were administered to me. And I would take them first thing in the morning. I would have water, and then I'd have coffee like an hour later. And for the first little bit, I remember the first day being on the meds, I spent the whole day crying because I was like, is this what it's like? Because I had no thoughts in my head. And I was like, is this what normal people feel like? I was so overwhelmed with the idea that like my brain was so quiet, and I've never experienced quiet like that before. But it was not like a peaceful thing. It was so off-putting that I sat there and I cried. Like, what the fuck is this? And I couldn't get anything done. And I sat in this paralysis of like, what do I do? Because there's not nothing happening in this brain. I'm just bawling because I'm like, what is this? Like, I don't have, like, I don't know if people are having like, like an ongoing to-do list in their head, or like, I don't know if people are talking different voices in their head. I have a combination of a lot of different things happening. So to hear nothing, just like nar bit was like,
no inner dialogue. No, I'm having inner dialogue as we're talking. Like Me
too, and I would be freaking out. It was freaking me out. Yeah. So I was like, okay, and I gave it like a couple more weeks because the doctor had said, this might take a couple weeks to kick in.
Totally.
And I think week 2, I was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I'm starting to get like almost
anxious about
hyper anxious. Like I'm almost like a kind of getting some heart palpitations, kind of feeling a little stomach sick, like things that are like, okay, well, this would be great if I didn't feel this way. You know what I mean? Like I'd get up, I'd have my meds, I'd do my things. I'm like, okay, like, this is fine. Like maybe I can get used to it, but I like coffee. Yeah. And that's going to be my deal breaker. So I went down to about 30 mils, still similar stuff. But then I went down to 20 mils, I think is where we're 20. No, we're at 30. I think we left off at 30. 40 was too much. So we found the happy space. 10 was not enough. 20 wasn't quite there. 30 was like, okay, this is our sweet spot. So I stayed on 30 mils for a while. I was medicated for almost a year. Things were going great. We were remembering to take our meds, things I was eating. Hard thing is with Vyvanse is that it pushes away your hunger cues. So I had to remind myself to eat, and I would have to force myself to eat. And in ways, I was like, sick, I'm losing some weight. This is great, because with my underactive thyroid, my metabolism has not, it's been slowed down. So then when we went into March, Sean lost his job. HR came in, and they were like, hey, by the way, we're shutting the shop down. We'll be shutting the shop down in a couple of weeks. And then I was looking at a new studio space, and it kind of very serendipitously worked.
Yeah.
I remember he got the call as me and Alex were going to look at the space, and I'm like, fuck, like I hope he's not without a job for too long, because I'm pretty set on the studio, so like fuck. And we went to look at the space, had keys like 2 weeks later. Like we manifested this place, and I was not even looking at going anywhere. And she was like, "Hey, girl, think you'd ever come out of your house?" And I was like, "I don't know, I like it here, but like if the perfect opportunity came up, I'm open to it."
Bam.
And okay, universe, be like, "Okay, bitch, about damn time." And I just remember being like, "Holy fuck!" Like I really hope that like this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I remember Sean losing his insurance. And I'm getting ready to open up the studio, and I'm like, I can't justify paying $150 a month for medication, because that's what it would be without insurance.
Right.
Something like that, about $100. And I'm like, that's just an added expense. I don't think I need it. I've got all these tools in my toolkit. And here's my other idea of this, because what was happening, like, okay, so the Vivance was leveling me out.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still having these feelings, so where are these feelings going? Because I'm not moving them. Yeah. So where are they going? Right? Mm-hmm. So then I went off the meds, and I'm getting the studio ready, and I'm like having these, like, now I'm having second thoughts about the studio space, because all this stuff's not in there, because I'm still working from home, and it's like the week before I have all my stuff in there, and we wanted to start working the week prior. Mm-hmm. And I remember being like, Alex, like, I don't don't feel like I belong. And she's like, it's because you're working 2 places at once. Get your fucking ass over here already. And I'm like, I know, like, I'm really trying to get there. She's like, no, fucking stop trying and just fucking do it. Like, just get over here. And I'm like, I know, I'm trying, I'm doing it. Like, I'm just like kind of freaking out, right? Totally. But like I look back now, and I didn't allow myself to celebrate because I didn't know how.
Yeah.
Celebration, and then I'm like, I was a chicken shit, and this is new territory. So we're already like, we are stretching so outside of our comfort zone, because I've been in my house for the past 5 years.
Yeah. It's
been great. I've been in my own little bubble. So now I have to go out into the real world. What the fuck? This is amazing, but also what the fuck? Ew. Yeah. So unmedicated, all this change, and now I'm not even like feeling the feels anymore. I'm almost like disassociation.
Yeah.
So like the first week of being open at the new studio, I was violently ill every day. I was puking my face off. I was so stressed out at the idea that this was such a big change. I was also over-caffeinated and probably not eating enough because everybody was like, oh my gosh, your new space is bringing you coffee.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks later, Sean got this wicked job, and he gets 100% coverage on insurance immediately, which is like unheard of. He's working oil field, but like in the shop, so he's home every night. Nice. Guaranteed hours, huge pay increase. Good. They treat him fantastic. So his insurance kicks in, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just do go back on the Vivance. I don't think I'm starting to doubt my skills, because now that I have went off the meds, but I never like weaned myself off. I just went cold turkey off. I'm out of pills. Try to get a refill. They're like, oh, we can't. That is considered. Well, it's considered meth's cousin. It's just medical. So it's slow release, and I can't just get it from the pharmacy. I need to have a call in from a doctor. And then I'm like, okay, fuck, like whatever. So he gets his insurance renewed. I call my doctor, and this is a new doctor because it's telehealth, which we love that sometimes, because we can't see a family doctor here because there ain't none. There's none. So I'm talking to this lady, and I'm like, hey, girl, so here's the scenario. This is what I was on previously. I'm thinking I should go back on it just because of, like, the levels of my stress I'm not able to handle. But here's the thing in my head, too. I'm thinking, like, that's because no normal person is supposed to handle the amount of stress that we're supposed to be handling. You know what I mean? 100%. We are living in a world that we shouldn't have to be doing all this stuff anyway. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, like, I'm ready to go back on it. She says, okay, did you ever check your blood pressure when you were on it? I'm like, nah, like, but I felt pretty good. Like, I've been on it for a year at the same dosage. It feels pretty fine, blah, blah, blah. She's like, okay, this dosage, there's been some people who have had issues with heart palpitations and higher blood pressure. I want that to be something you monitor. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great.
That's great.
No
she
issues, that sounds
you,
fine.
at least.
Whatever. Yeah.
Thanks.
Not really thinking anything of it. Get it. And I'm just taking it like normal. So I don't know if when she said this batch, I don't know if they had like changed things, or if it was because I was off of it for a while, or if it's because she had noticed that I was on Synthroid. Okay. Because I looked after I'm no longer medicated. So like I went off of my meds and found out after that the two of them are not supposed to be together. They're not supposed to be. And I was like, maybe it's fine because I'm on such a low dosage
Yeah.
of my Synthroid that might not be mixing. So I go back on my Vyvanse. I'm still on my Synthroid. And I start having, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm at the new studio. And next thing you know, I have to like lay down on the floor. I lean down. So, okay, have you ever had that experience where your head goes below your knees and your head, you kind of get like the woozies, is what I
Yeah.
call it. It's like a woo,
Yeah.
it's like a vertigo. And you're like, oh my God, I gotta go lay down.
Yes.
Well, I had crouched down, and my head never even went below my knees. I like squat down to get something from the cupboard, and I was like, ooh, I don't feel good. And I started profusely sweating, and I laid down, and I was like, what the fuck? And I thought I was going to be sick, but also thought I was going to pass out. And I'm sweating from like extremities that I never knew could sweat. Like there's sweat coming from places that should not sweat.
Yeah.
And Alex was there, and like Sean was waiting for me. I was just coming in to grab something. And Alex was like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, this sometimes happens. Because this has happened before, but sometimes this happens. And I just had a mouthful of coffee,
Yeah.
and it's like I had eaten, and she's like, "Oh, like have you eaten today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've eaten like lunch, and I had breakfast, and I have had snacks. Like I've ate a good chunk of food that was like sustainable food."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh my gosh, she's like, is this like does this happen a lot?" I said, "Oh, occasionally, but like my heart rate is so high, I'm having like the crazy heart palpitations, and she thought I was having a fucking heart attack." So she's like, give me your phone. I'm calling your husband and getting his ass in here to come get you. I'm like, okay. So he comes in and he's like, yeah, are you going to take you to the hospital today? And I was like, no. And he's like, fuck, babe. And I was like, I know. Because now he's to the point where he's used to it, Brandy, which is scary,
Yeah.
right? Because this is not the first time, but it's the first time I've documented it, right?
Yeah.
So a couple weeks later, I'm working at the store because I occasionally cover there on Saturdays, and the same thing happened around the same time. It's about 4 o'clock this time. And I think I had a mouthful of coffee, similar thing. But next thing you know, I'm like still able to walk around without having to like lie horizontal on the floor. But
Great.
we're going for like ice cream, and I literally sat in the car doing like breath work, trying to calm my heart rate down because my heart rate is through the fucking roof. And I'm like, am I having like a heart attack? And I'm like, and I'm doing all the things. Am I taking a stroke? I'm like, I can move my body.
Yeah.
I'm like doing like a self-evaluation to be like, okay, I and I'm like, is this a panic attack? Like, what the fuck is going on? And then I'm like, have I changed anything differently in the last little bit? And then I fell down the rabbit hole of being like, okay, so I'm like Vyvanse side effects because that's the only thing that has been welcomed back into my life in the past couple of months. Yeah. And sure as shit, heart palpitations like that. Because I was like, it's either I'm hypoglycemic and my sugar levels went low and I'm a diabetic and undiagnosed, or this is something that is because I'm like, none of these scenarios made sense if I was eating. Like if I had skipped breakfast and had no food in my system and I was, over caffeinated. Yeah. Like I was like eliminating out the things that don't make sense, right? But I was like, oh my God, like my chest hurts. Like it was just like the wildest. It was almost enough to put you in your own spiral of anxiety because you're like, oh my God, am I dying?
Yeah.
Like, am I dying?
Yeah.
It makes you feel very vulnerable. But at the same time, these 2 last episodes, I didn't even feel like crying because I was so fucking used to this now.
Yeah.
That's not cool. That is terrifying. Yeah. So when I had seen that there was a on WebMD or something like that, and it had saying that Vyvanse and Synthroid should never be prescribed together, I was like, but I have been for over a year. What the fuck? So I seen that, and then I had seen that the side effects that can mesh with the two. For one, Vyvanse can also lessen the amount of minerals and vitamins you're getting into your body. So my iron levels were through the floor. So that had also contributed to my weakness. But then I'm also supplementing in different ways just to get the absorption in my body. So I'm like, okay, if that is affecting my iron levels, should that not be also affecting my thyroid levels? Because, you know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, I just made a decision to go off both.
Yeah. Oh, both.
So I just decided to go off both because I'm like, well, if I'm such a low dosage of my thyroid, I should be able to come out with like a way that in my tool box to be able to incorporate iodine or seaweed or spinach or
You have
something that
so
has
much, and
that
you're in
piece
such a
in there.
different space too, right? Like, who knows what that's
Yeah.
like? Maybe your hormones are more balanced now, and it's not as bad. Like, at least worth a shot. To the point, like, if you
Yeah.
don't, you're getting heart palpitations. Like,
Yeah, and I'm cool with not having one of those.
I
And I
think
have
that's
felt
great. Carry on with that. Like,
right, and I was like, I looked at Sean the other day, and I was like, it's been 3 months without being on meds, and I haven't had a heart palpitation in 3 months.
I bet you that
So,
feels good, though.
yeah, like I have my moments. I feel like
Of
there's been
course.
moments that I felt like almost like hyper, like the hard
Aware.
part that I explained, well, like hyper vigilant.
Mm.
But like also sometimes I feel like I wake up and there's so much that I need to do that I can't prioritize, like I used to. But I also feel like I'm living in such a different season right now in my life too, that like I'm coming into a busier season, so it's gonna look a little bit differently with my workshops and my work and my crafting and stuff like that. So I think there's just I feel like that is normal. That feels like
Yeah.
my normal.
And
Oh
is it a
my,
bad
what
thing?
happened?
Oh, no. Are you
Oh,
still there? Oh.
I am, but for
Oh,
some
okay.
reason my phone went small. I'm like, what
Oh,
happened?
interesting. Well, we are going like an hour and 40, so I feel like my headphones are going to die at any moment. That's good. I know. I was like, Grant's like, what time do you think you'll be done? I was like, oh, Holly, definitely 2 hours. Like, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah. Like, definitely it's Holly. He's like, okay, well, I'll probably talk to you tomorrow. I was like, well, we'll see what time we're
bless
done.
his soul.
Yeah, because he's in Grand Prairie too right now, so it's 10. It'll be probably
Aw,
10. I was like, if you're still up for 10, I'll give you a call because I'm sure we'll be the full 2 hours because that's how we do, and we only get to really talk every couple months
do.
on this show, and like, I
This
mean,
is
we
true.
don't voice notes, but like diving deep into a topic. So, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just like when you said that, that's I was like, one, we immediately need to talk about this because this is something people don't talk about. Where it's like you could be going, we talked about this too, you could be going to two different pharmacies and maybe that pharmacist doesn't know you're on something else. And then the doctor is like, well, it's not my job to know what the medications, I'm just, it's up to your pharmacist. But then if you're going to different pharmacists or your pharmacists are different, you know what I mean? They might not catch that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're having heart palpitations thinking it's normal. Well, this whole time it probably wasn't. And if you would have just dismissed it as moms do, what would that have taken you to? And also let's add the scare of what happened to your father as well. Like, I'm sure that the heart stuff doesn't really help when you're going through heart, when your dad, you know what I mean? Like that, those are
it's
things,
true.
that probably add to the anxiety. So it's just like, I'm glad that she kind of mentioned that, but this is something that should have been mentioned to you when you went on Vyvanse to begin with. Like the minute someone's like, I'm going to put you on medication, why is it like, what else are you on? Like they should know these things. And it scares me, especially when we have walk-in clinics and all this stuff where people aren't understanding that maybe the reaction your body is having is because you've got a couple different chemicals that are fighting each other. Because like to say that medication is safe, sure, but then it says like, well, don't mix this and that. Then don't, and it's like, well, you can't possibly test all medications together. So how can you just blanketly say that? I think it's fair to say everything comes with risks. Be aware. If your body starts acting whack, go to the doctor and go fucking figure it out, or start recording it at least, or write it down, or like start noticing patterns to start figuring it out. Like you do have to be your own advocate on all this way, because there's not somebody that's just checking your score sheet to make sure that things line up. It's like when you come in with a fucking heart attack, they're gonna be like, oh, well, by the way, you weren't supposed to be on this. It's like, oh, so now that's my fault. So it's like people really have to advocate and really research. They give you those booklets, fucking read them. I know it sucks, but like there's ways that you can scan things now and listen to it. Like we have the advancements now. I think we really should be doing it because no one's watching out for you. No one told you that.
No, and I think there is a piece there that they make more money off of us when we're sick. So
110%.
they just see this as a cha-ching. And for my situation, it was probably overlooked because honestly, the dosages I was on was so small that they're like, oh, what are the chances of this actually like causing any issues? Probably not. She hasn't had any issues yet, so it's been over a year.
But
so I'm like,
sometimes the accumulation, right? Like it's just so crazy, and they just don't take enough care to it. Like some do, I don't all, but I just think it's such a disconnected. Like that's why you should have an army of people together that are talking about your treatments. But if you have treatments here, there, the other, you don't know whether that's allopathic, Western, natural, whatever. Like when you have the care being disconnected, I just don't know how we can not not make those being like what. The doctors, I feel like, should be like, what other medications are you on? And like the pharmacist should be like, hey, are you on any other medications while you're taking this? Like, why aren't those steps being had? I don't know.
And like I feel like sometimes it is happening, but I feel like it's only
Not as much as
happening
it
if
should.
you're on like a lot of different medications. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're they're not usually like oh, if you're on some like anticoagulant and then you're on some stuff that's like I feel like if you were on like heart like I don't think it's seen in the way of like so ADHD and
Mhm.
synthroid stuff. Like I feel like it's usually if you're like blood pressure medication or diabetes medication. I
Yeah.
think it's usually the ones that are like more like what they would have classified as like chronic need to have medications every
Hmm.
day
Hmm.
scenario.
Hmm.
That are more like I feel like they're almost more monitored anyway.
Yeah.
Because like even with my sister, she had a hard time because she was having some crazy. She had blood pressure. So me, she is 27 years old.
Hmm.
20, maybe a little bit older than that now, because I'm terrible with time. But she was told a little while ago she had a high blood. Her blood pressure was obscenely high at 27 years old.
Why? But are we
They
looking
had
into
her on
that? Are we?
concerta.
Yeah, I was just saying, but it's like immediate medication. It's like, okay, but why is she having that? The medication is
Yeah,
not what, like, maybe it was, but like, just giving a medication and not looking at the root cause is such a disservice to our whole entire humanity.
they think it was her ADHD meds, so she had to get that changed over to Vyvanse. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's, but like, she couldn't do a stimulant because there was certain other medication she was on, and then she couldn't do this because of this, and this because of this. And like, I understand that there's going to be multiple things because their bodies are so complex, but like, also, why do we feel like,
Why are
why
we
do we have to be
complicating
like
it
test
more?
subjects?
Like, is
Can't,
that
can't do
not
that.
complicating it more? Isn't it adding more risk? Like, and again, it's everyone's informed choice, but people aren't
Yeah,
being informed, and that's my problem. Because you weren't
yeah.
just fucking informed.
Nope.
Like, what if you were
Fucked
driving when
around and
that
found out.
happened? Exactly. And like, what? And like, we're just fucking
Yeah,
guinea pigs. Is at the end of the day, we're just guinea pigs. And I just want people to not always take. When I'm talking about this, like, if you want to be medicated for your mental health, and depending on what, that's all on you. But just be aware, and I do encourage people to look into things more. So know what you're taking. Don't just blindly say, "Well,
yeah,
the doctor did this, prescribed this, so I'm not going to look into it." Know what the side effects are. Know what the red
yeah,
flags are. Know what you should be taking. What, like, some people don't even know that with some medications you take, you shouldn't be in the sun. And then they go outside in
yeah.
the sun and they get burnt. And they're like, "It's the sun's fault." It's like, no, you're on a fucking medication that's going to make it harder.
I was
Oh,
on
I was like, are you
medication for
seeing
that.
something? Sorry. But you know what I
No,
mean? Like,
I'm
but
like
people
I
don't
was
say
there.
stuff.
I was
Like,
yeah. I
and
had
think about when we were
yeah.
kids. No one told me when you take antibiotics, your birth control is null and void. No one told me
Pretty sure
that.
that's how it ended up with Zadie because I think I was just coming off medication for a UTI.
See? That's what I'm
Um,
saying. Like, why aren't we having
yeah.
informed consent when it comes to this stuff? That's my issue. Do whatever you
Or
need to. If you want to be on fucking 100 milligrams of Vyvanse
yeah,
7 times a day, I don't really give a shit. As long as you know what can happen, because most people on my show tell me I wasn't informed and I got fucked up and it took some years off my life, or it scared me, or now it's like, I'm sure that added a little bit of trauma to your life when it comes to the
yeah,
medical facility, doctors. Like, now you've got some distrust. And now every time you
yeah,
go to part something, you're going to be like, which is good, but you're also going to be like, now I'm skeptical. And then once you become a
yeah,
skeptical, you're a full-blown conspiracy theorist for just being like, hey, I had heart palpitations from medication I was told was going to be safe, but now I'm not. And now it's like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's like, no, bitch, that was my experience. It's not a
yep,
conspiracy. It's a conspiracence.
yep.
Conspiracence. Something. You know, we'll make up a new word for it.
I like that conspiracins.
Like, no, it's not a
Yeah,
theory. It's my fucking real life experience. Thank
it's the
you.
real life. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no, we're
And
not
then
doing that.
I find it interesting too that like when you share these experiences and then they're like, oh, like why did you go to the hospital? And it's like, have you seen our healthcare system is a fucking mess? Why would I want to go there? I would
So they can
rather
put
die
me
at
on
home.
more. You see, they get, yeah, exactly. So they put me on another medication that's gonna kill me. Like, at what point? Like, they're the reason. Like, sure, but they're probably
Yeah,
the reason why I'm in there. And also, like, you don't get served. You're gonna sit on the hallways for however long. So it's like, I'm not even fucking with
yeah,
that. But it's just so insane. And I'm just like on a final note here, because you're just at the beginning of like no medication, 3 months. So I think it'll be great. Well, maybe the end of the season or beginning of season 11, to see where you're at. But like any hopes and dreams for like how you feeling about not being medicated? Like, you feel like it's something you can do, or are you a little bit
well,
nervous?
I have my moments. We're having our moments in which I'm like, I feel like I'm fucking crazy because I can't. I feel like I can't. I still have that guilt of not being as productive as I want to be, or like with some of the situations that I've had come up in the past little bit. I feel like I've reached my threshold of shit. Does it make
Fair.
sense? Like I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know when the threshold stops, but I'm fucking over it.
Hmm.
And like a lot of it has nothing to do with me. It's the outside stuff. So
Yeah.
I think where I am, I think I'm through like the good hunk of it, and I've made it past the 3 months. I think I don't want to be back on something that I have to be on all the time. That
Yeah.
doesn't feel good for me. I'm trying to look at it in a different perspective in the way that I have the things in my toolbox and I'm needing to trust myself and leaning
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
And we're self-medicating. We like some smoking of some
Yeah.
weed.
And
But I like,
patience, right? And
again,
grace with yourself too. And being like,
yeah.
I am healing from this, right? So I'm not going to be perfect
And like,
overnight for it.
and I'll be honest, weed has helped pull me out of some anxiety stuff based things too. That wasn't making a whole lot of sense, but it has pulled me out of some stuff in the way of like that
Totally.
time that I was like, I'm not feeling 100%. I smoked some weed and it helped my stomach pain
100%.
because like I feel like some of my anxiety, it shows up in stomach pain first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I'm
It
able to
rots in
smoke
your
a little bit of
belly.
weed, it calms, yeah, it kind of, I'm able to soothe my tummy problems
Mhm.
and turn my brain down a little bit. Between weed and breath and
Mhm.
just getting into some grounding exercises. I also found a Spotify playlist. It's like cortisol detox or
Nice.
something. So I love a good nap. I'm a
Yeah.
napper.
Oh, I'm a
I
huge
found out
napper.
recently,
Huge napper.
apparently, somebody told me
Fucking
a
love
little while
napping.
ago, apparently naps are a trauma response. And I was
I
like,
can see that.
excuse you. But also like, yeah, I
I'll
work with
take it.
energy and I work with people all the time. So like maybe I want a fucking nap, okay?
It's a
I took
reset for
3 hour
me,
naps
man.
today.
I just like a
Yeah,
reset, and it could be 15 minutes. I'm just gonna close my eyes, have a little reset, half an hour
yep,
max, and I'm like, hey, I'm ready to go. I just need to. It's almost like I
yeah,
spiritually need to dump what I just went through, especially being on like the
yeah,
show and stuff, and talking about all this is
yeah.
like it's overwhelming. So I just need my brain to like
Yeah,
shh for a minute. It's like power cycling a laptop. That's what I feel like it is. Like
exactly,
I'm just
exactly. It's like a
resetting. Yeah, I'm just
we have
restarting my
rebooted to level
system.
up.
I'm rebooted now.
Yep.
I'm ready for some more bullshit. But up until that moment, I was overloaded with bullshit. I need to have naps. And I think that's such a beautiful way of understanding that we do have tools in our toolbox. However, they're not microwave tools, meaning
Mhm.
I can't have instant gratification, which if you have ADHD and you need that dopamine hit, I can see where that is a real struggle, right? So
Yep.
it's like using your tools and being patient. That breath work is going to get you there, but it might not get you there as fast as just taking a pill and not having it. Where
Yep.
cannabis, like weed, closes some of the 50 tabs that I have open so I could just focus on the 10, whereas the medication felt like it took away all the tabs and I couldn't even open and function my first one. And that was like, I'd rather have all the emotions in the world and learn how to deal with it than have no emotions, because with all due respect, that is what we have in social media. We've seen it over the last couple of weeks, the
Yep.
devoidness of humanity and the absolute insanity of people's lack of emotions, like emotional regulation on any sort of political side. And I'm just like, I think we just got to focus on us. And how do we,
Yeah.
everything is always like, well, society says, then don't focus on society. Focus on your
Mhm.
community that you're building around you. Be that, we always say that, like, wave your freak flag, and we have found our people now, right? You found your people. You found
Yeah.
people that get it, that will support you. And once you have that, you can start working on your mental illnesses unmedicated because you're safer in most circumstances.
Mhm.
I'm not saying if you're schizophrenic, get off that. It's between you and your doctor, and this is not medical advice.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is like, make sure that you're truly diagnosed and not just situationally in that diagnosis, because we've all seen it. And whether that's postpartum or just seasons of depression or winter, like, is there anything that you can do in your life to help your mental health before you immediately run to a medication that could put you at risk of other things, or that could prevent you from being on other things that you need? Like, can you deal with your ADHD because maybe you need your thyroid more? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can't have both.
Yeah.
So, like, really understanding what that means and understanding that it should be a temporary tool for most of these things. Like, being on a medication long term, nobody can tell me that anything is safe and effective anymore. I'm sorry. We've
Yep.
seen that it's not. So please
Yep.
don't allude to people like, go on this. It's like, go on this, and these are the other things you need to do. And you need to go move your body. You need to go to meditation, to get to therapy, like whatever it is that you need.
Like turn
not
off your
just
phone.
Turn off your phone, touch grass, literally talk to people.
Literally
Don't
touch grass.
literally touch grass, breathe fresh air, see outside, get some sun, and talk to people. I know it's hard. I know the pandemic fucked us up, you guys. I know
It really did. It really did.
interpersonal connections are really hard, but for your mental health, you need them. You cannot live in an echo chamber online and think that your mental health is going to be okay through that. And doesn't matter what echo chamber you're in. That's also, you need to really be, we need to start working on emotional regulation. We need to start, like, people can agree to disagree and people don't hate me. We need to stop blaming everything on society and understand that you've created the society in your head. So start there and deciding what that society accepts. You know, don't be a murderer or child toucher, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, we're part of the society, right?
Yeah,
that's the other piece too. Like, we can turn around and blame the society, but we're a part of it. So
we make up that mind.
Yeah, right. So it's up to us to make that, like, conscious decision. And now that we have the information is at our fingertips.
Yes.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to jump on board with stuff that doesn't really align with us. Yes, like for myself, I was pretty open. Like, I was open to the idea of playing around with it. So when I say that, I was like not really for or against medication, but I thought at the time it wasn't for me. Yeah. But I had other friends who had been on it and who had great experiences. So I'm like, okay, like maybe it'll work out for me. But I knew going in, I didn't want to be on it all the time. I don't want anything that makes me feel like I have to be on something to survive. So that I have to rely on something, because as soon as I can't access that, then what?
Yeah. What's the crash out from it?
And that's the other piece too. Like, when we look historically, I'm not trying to get all like woo woo on you or like, conspiracy, but like, you look at, so like some of the medications have been switched out for generic brands, which do have a little bit of changes in it. We're also seeing a lot of different medications. Like, I've seen a lot of diabetic medications that you can no longer get for diabetes. You know what I'm talking about.
100%.
But there's like some pieces there that, like, they've had to switch providers. They've had to off-label. They've had to, or they're having supply and demand issues because of they're coming in from the States or XYZ.
Or prices
so if it
go
comes
up
to a situation in which, if I can't get my medications, then where does that leave me? It's kind of like, and I'm not saying that is ever going to happen in this lifetime for myself.
Don't know though.
But wouldn't life be so much easier if I don't have to go call the pharmacy and be like every month to go in and get new medications? That to me is already simplifying my routine in a way that feels better. Yeah, it will be interesting now to see as we're going into the colder months. It's darker and I'm not getting as much vitamin D. We'll see.
But I have faith, because I feel like every, again, we can then immerse ourselves, like 3 months, find stuff that you really love, right? Like, find what you do love about winter. Like, I was thinking about today, okay, I hate winter, but what do I love about it? Even though I hate the drive to work in the snow, it actually causes me to slow down and just not race through life. Like, really trying to find the beauty in life. And I think for anybody that's having mental health, like, struggles, like, really start to find those basics. Are you being grateful for your life? Are you sitting down and really being grateful and sitting with yourself? Are you listening to your inner body? Are you listening to your inner self and your inner child? Are you having fun in a day? Are you smiling? Are you laughing? Are you sleeping? Are you drinking water?
Are you drinking water?
Food? Like, because let's not get as much colon cancer, okay? Let's drink some water, and it's like, not every day is going to be perfect, and mental health is hard. I get that. But we also, the beautiful thing is that we can take a lot in our hands that try and control. And if we just start there, it's so empowering, because once you see one positive thing happen, then you see another, and then you see another, and you're like, wow, I actually can handle all of this on my own. And once your body gets used to, like, in the situations and they see that you're safe, your body will start to release that, and we won't see it manifesting as in illnesses and all that. So whether that's physical or mental, I think when we're ignoring emotions, it can manifest in different ways. And some people, it's their gut health, their autoimmune diseases. Some people, it's their mental health. Some people, it's a combination of both, that have been holding so much trauma and pain and living like this their entire lives. Like, how is your lymph system supposed to detox when you're sitting like this? How is your body supposed to detox when you're not breathing properly and not breathing properly? And how is your body supposed to produce energy when you're not giving it any food? You're giving it fake and false energy, right? Like, those, and I'm an energy drink addict. I'm not saying, but I know that. Like, I know why I'm tired, because I abuse caffeine and I'm a fucking idiot. And I know how to fix it, right? Well, I try, but it's either way. It's just having personal responsibility and advocating for yourself. I think that's our main takeaway from this. And if you don't feel good on a medication, check into it. If you feel like you're better on a medication, then do it. Just be informed. So that you're not like Holly going, oh my God, am I having a fucking heart attack? You could go immediately, holy shit, this is heart palpitations. This is a side effect possibly from my medication. You can immediately go to the doctor and talk to them. Not sit there for months going, oh, okay, well, I'm a busy mom. I'm a business owner. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what you guys will do. Right. You're notorious. Moms will do that. And it's like, and then all of a sudden you're in the hospital. Then what, right? Because y'all need to fucking stop that. But with love. But I'm so proud of you. That's why I was like, when you told me this, I was like, we need to talk about this because mental illness and your medication is totally up to you. But just be informed and know that just because your doctor or professional says something, that might not be okay for you, and to dive deeper into it. I think that's my takeaway. But this was an amazing, again, 2-hour conversation. I see your phone is starting to die, I feel like, on you over there. But just a quick, what is your email or your website again, and your Instagram handle so everyone can go follow you there as well? I'll tag you too. But
so work-wise, it's my website is the.hgexperience.ca. Sorry, www.hgexperience.ca. My Instagram for work is the.hg.experience. And my other personal one is what is it?
Hot Mess
Hollie G.
I was like, I feel like that's what I know forever.
HOLLIE.
I love it. This has been so great. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. Keep going, girl, because I know you're doing this is on the right path. And you know, I support you regardless. I think some people don't think I support people just because I'm like, be careful about things. No, I support you doing whatever. And I know you have informed consent now, and that's what matters to me. And that's all that ever matters.
And I think it's different too, like, because we're always growing and changing, and I think the beautiful thing is an adult who can make their own decisions, we're also allowed to change our minds. So even though I was like anti-medication, that I tried it and it was like okay for a little bit, and I'm allowed to change my mind. So like 100%. I'm also trying to like be mindful of people, of being like, hey, like, you know what might work for you, you know, didn't work for me, and that's cool, but like this is my experience, but you might have different experience. But like I think it fits for what we want it to fit. So if I was not willing to do the inner work, I probably would have stayed medicated, because I don't need to do the inner work because it's already doing it for me. But is it though? Because my brain was like, cool, I have all these feelings.
Eventually it's going to spill out.
But now that I'm off my meds, it has to go somewhere.
Exactly.
And it's going to show up in different places of your body, which is probably going to cause you chronic illness. So I'm here thinking like, oh my God, when you have an autoimmune disorder, apparently those come in threes. So if your thyroid shits the bed, I have vitiligo, which was like a change, like it's like non-pigment to my hair and skin.
Yeah.
It's like the Michael Jackson disease.
Okay.
And then I guess like IBS is also in there. So it's like so autoimmune kind of comes in threes, and then it's like chronic illness is like in with the autoimmune diseases, and then it's like, oh my God, what if this was actually trauma?
100%.
What if this was forced on me, and now it's showing up in ways of ADHD?
Yes.
And ways of because I can no longer people please like I used to, or XYZ. And it's really interesting to see like all the connections and like the waterfall effect.
Yeah.
And now there's moments in like when I had that accident or incident, it's like my body's like, you get pissed off because you're like, fuck body, like,
but
why you do me dirty like
it's
that?
It's telling you, and you're like, no, like I need to be supported better, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Like, come on, I was doing okay, and then you got to do me dirty like that.
That's
like,
fair.
But now you can't trust your own body.
Yes.
So like then you're out looking for other ways to fill that, because if you can't trust yourself, then you're looking for that dopamine, for that support, because you're like, fuck, I can't trust my own body. If it's gonna be glitching out on me occasionally, how do I support it? So then you think pharmaceuticals is the answer, and it might be for a little while, until it gives you fucking heart palpitations, and then you're like, ah, shit, bro.
Now I have a new problem to worry about.
I guess maybe we weren't healing as deep as we thought we were. Like,
exactly. And then just
it's
to
a
say,
wild
like,
world.
And it's to decide, is that risk worth the benefits? Is heart palpitations worth having a quieter brain and a little bit more focus, or can you just work with that and not have heart and it's each to their own to decide. But that's why I just want people informed, and I think sharing is caring. So sharing those experiences is showing, this is what happened to me, and this might not happen to you, and I've always been that way. Do what you need to do. That's personal, your family, your life, all of that. I just like to bring stories, because these stories aren't being shared with from the pharmacists, from the doctors, on social media as much. So that's why I want these stories, so that people can decide, and they go, hey, you know what? I feel the same as Holly. I'm going to get off the medication. This works for me. Or no, you know what? I'm happy for her. but I'm just going to do this for me. And that's all good. I'm always for that. I just think that people need to hear these stories because they think that they're alone and then they must be crazy. And then they go to the professionals and the professionals like, listen to me, I'm the smartest. And it's not that they're not the smartest. It's just that we don't know for everybody. And people like to discredit those without education. So I feel like people get gaslit more often than not. So advocate for yourself. And that's kind of the end of it. Advocate, don't stop. And to your point, be open to change with yourself or other people and allow others to change their minds as well. New information makes you change mine. I actually appreciate that about people. I don't like people that are like getting new information and absolutely refuse. There's certain things, child pedophiles, murderers, that, those are hard no's. But other than that, like, it's really not my business what you do in your life. Just be good. But I appreciate you so much, Hollie. This has been so great. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. And until the next episode, bye, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. I truly appreciate the support. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please follow the Be Real Babe podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. You can also find me at the Be Real Babe podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Until next time, guys. Bye!